You are listening to the Lucha Central Podcast Network. And now, LuchaCentral.com presents Masks, Mats, and Mayhem.
Yo, what's up, Bozo? Oh, do you listen to my podcast?
Yes.
All right.
Good show.
Welcome to another edition of Masks, Mats, and Mayhem. I'm your host, the Outlaw Ellie Red. You can find me on social media at JustinHarvey75. You can find the entire show on social media at MMMshow75, and that's at Justin Harvey.
At Jason75.
There's no Jason involved. Thanks, Konnan.
Jason versus Freddy.
If Konnan says your name is Jason, your name is Jason.
It's written in law now.
So upset by that. Anyway, up there is at Meatloaf, our superstar from across the pond over there in Falmouth, England.
He's still wearing the same shirt that he was wearing last week.
He's always wearing that shirt, isn't he?
I checked to make it was washed, and it has been washed. So.
I didn't know we were
honest.
trying to match because the interview we're going into is.
I'm wearing the same shirt too.
God dang it! I should have done a thing. I'm sorry, guys. It could have looked like this was like going live right into the interview. I totally messed the whole thing up.
I'm also, by the way, Justin. Remember when
I love the hoodies.
We met in a bathroom in Las Vegas wearing these things?
Yeah, I feel like Mass Republic should be selling those. Shouldn't they be selling officially licensed Lucha Central podcast?
We should have socks
stuff for their podcast.
Since we don't have bowl shavers.
Well, Expo Lucha, Virtual Expo Lucha has not finished. I know they just announced their replica mini mask line, which looks super cool. However,
it's on in the background. That is Expo Lucha. We're recording this on Saturday during Expo Lucha. Sorry, we had to take a break if you don't see us in the chat there. And we're apologizing after the fact because now you're not going to see this till Tuesday. But anyway, that over there, that's at Byron Fever, film director supreme, the director of The Bates Haunting, the director of Delusions of Morons, which is not a horror movie, but it does feature Byron in his tighty whitey, so it is horrific.
Biopic.
It does. Check that off.
It is horrific, just not a horror movie. And that is the only part that is horrific because the rest of it is actually entertaining. And this is the only time on this episode you're going to hear me put over Byron. So listen,
that's also because Justin and Casey were they helped to make it. So in a way, they're roundabout Justin's putting himself over. I don't know what Casey's doing because he's not here.
He's taking a shit.
I'll give you credit, man. I showed up and I just yelled at people and AD'd for you and got people doing the right stuff so you could kind of stay on budget. And then your female co-star, when she got bit by tarantulas or whatever the fuck that was,
I think it was a mosquito.
I volunteered to suck the poison out.
You did.
And, Kitty Antics, right? Wasn't that her name?
Yeah, you can find her Kitty Antics on the social media. No, it wasn't her sister. Okay, we'll plug them. Why not? Her name's Carolyn, but they're musicians, singer, dancers.
They are what I'd like to refer to as modern entertainers and influencers.
Yes, so you can find find her at Kitty Antics with a K and then an ITTY and then Antics with a A.
No, the behind the scenes was she really did get a giant spider bite. And it swole up a lot, and I didn't actually suck out the poison. Maybe I should have, but we doctored her up a little bit and kept her going. I told you this before.
You can't do that. It doesn't work. That is bad medical advice. We are not the Donald Trump network.
Right. Was I supposed to pee on it? I was supposed to pee on it and then pour bleach on it.
Cut it off.
Right?
So I just have 5 to 7 more things. One, you can find them both at the Nguyen twins. Because it's Vietnamese, that's how you spell it. You got to figure that out. And then
Nguyen.
That's their duo act.
Nguyen twins.
Nguyen twins.
Nguyen twins.
Look how my face is glowing. You think I can pronounce that?
Nguyen twins.
And then two.
They're absolutely adorable.
So here's a cool thing. Carolyn used to be a go-go dancer and does nails, makeup, eyelashes, all that stuff. And so we were able to kind of come up. Speaking of a Lucha podcast that has masks and makeup and all that stuff, she came up with a really cool look with her makeup and she looked really weird, which helped her blend into all the weird stuff going on. You should tune in to delusionsofmorons.com and you can see what I'm talking about at the end of the movie.
Well, speaking of plugs, Expo Lucha absolutely awesome this year. A lot of unseen matches from last year. Some really fun stuff going on. You got to hear all about the new boss fight lines. A lot of new stuff that Masked Republic is doing with the Legends of Lucha Libre. Our awesome interview with Konnan. And if you happen to have missed any of the interview that we did with Konnan, we're going to be showing a part of it coming up right after we talk about Lucha Underground. But I want to rip, rock, and roar right into the Lucha Underground review because Konnan, in our interview, actually mentions and references a good part of this episode. So I want to dive into it and talk a little bit about our Lucha Underground Rewind this week, which is Season 1, Episode 22, Mask versus Mask. Interesting name for an episode, considering that wasn't entirely the focus of the episode, but we'll get into that.
Do you remember what part of the show Konnan had a problem with? The show Mask versus Mask?
I would be I would stretch the imagination to say it was probably that little blown over part in the middle that nobody really cared about. It was a very bizarre episode. Anyway, the first vignette, Konnan and Puma. This was extremely confusing. It made no sense in the edit. I don't know how this was written to make any sense. It's like Dario is there telling Puma and Konnan, you have to find a trios team for tonight. And they go through this whole spiel. And that's like the big part of this segment. Like, no, you've got to find a trios team. And Konan's like, oh, I got some people. Even though we've already introduced Hernandez and we already know he's in league with Konnan. So, like, that's going to be any kind of big surprise there. But then he says, oh, and by the way, as an afterthought, your title is on the line tonight against Cuerno. So is there a trios match coming up? Is there a singles match coming up? Is the trios match for the world championship? What the hell is going on with this explanation? It made
I gotta be honest with you. As we're talking about a segment that's in the beginning of the show about the match that's at the end of the show, I need to talk about the match at the end of the show. And halfway through, I still wasn't sure if that was also a trios match.
Yeah, I don't mind talking about that match first. We can get right into it because I was dumbfounded by the whole sequence of events here. So you've got this setup in Dario's office. Then you've got Konnan introducing Hernandez as Puma's partner, and Puma kind of shrugging that off, but obviously that was going to happen. And then Mundo shows up and says, hey, I'm your Vato Loco that's going to jump in this thing, which was actually kind of entertaining and funny.
How about the handshake?
And what was going on? I'm so baffled. And then you get to this actual match where now it's Cuerno coming to the ring with Tejano and Cage, right? And then Puma with Hernandez and Mundo. But the match is just Cuerno and Puma for the belt.
Yeah.
Have I gotten that right? Because it's really confusing.
Why are they friends?
Meef, you look dumbfounded. Why do you look so dumbfounded?
Meef, explain it. You just watched
I did not watch the episode. So I've been having a bit of one of those days.
As today, Ron Weasley would say, that's brilliant.
I do remember it though. I do remember the whole fuck uppery of this because I was thinking to myself, I remember the Cuerno title shot, and I remember the whole. This leads to a triple. A trios match, doesn't it?
Yeah. So this is for.
It's like the title match to set up a trios match.
I have a question.
Set up a qualifier for the trios belt tournament.
I have a question about the match.
Yeah, talk to me.
So you brought up Ron Weasley. He's like a Harry Potter guy, right?
Brilliant. Yeah.
So I saw something in my perusing of the internet today that said that the actor who played Ron Weasley and the actor who played Hermione, Emma Watson?
Hermione?
Yes.
Hermione?
Yes.
Hermione.
I mean, you could pronounce it both ways.
Hermione sounds like a place in America.
So
Hermione.
I read when they apparently I don't want to spoil this if you're not that far along in the books, but they had a scene where they had to
Byron, I'm pretty sure 12 years after a book comes out, the spoilers are okay.
Well, I'm not that far in it.
He's not finished Game of Thrones yet.
I wanted to be respectful. And so I read that they were uncomfortable with having to kiss in one of the later movies because they had been like brother and sister since they started the movies at like age 9 and up and stuff. And so they felt like brother and sister, and it was awkward. And I wanted to ask either of you if you how believable you think, who do you think said that, and then who do you think said, yeah, I agree, between the two of them?
I mean, I think realistically, it's one of those things where, like, you know, the boys kiss the girls when they like them, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And actually, they all liked each other, and they were all actually totally fine with it because they're carny and they're actors.
Yeah, that's the Twilight movies. I think there was like at least 5 babies during the course of that movie that were left in Canada, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Oh God. Well, you had to bring up Twilight.
I'm with you, Meatloaf. What happened? We've already completely derailed. Okay, let's talk about this headline match.
Kirsten fucking Stewart. Oh
yeah, Kirsten Stewart is not exactly known.
That's if I had to be on a set and she was just living within 100 meters of me, I would not think about having sex. I'd probably chop off my cock.
What's a meter?
Anyway, it's 3'3".
Justin, you're a music producer. Justin, you went to music school. You have music degrees. You should know. Also, I like Kay Stu. I think she's cool. I think she also probably didn't know that she was on a job and working at all during the entire Twilight movie series. I don't know what she did.
Jacob.
She like just stood there the whole time and didn't do anything. But no. You got to remember her classic look. She has a look for every emotion.
They're all and
Jessica, can you explain that to the audio listeners? What was going on with?
Kristen Stewart has this dumbfounded look, like she was hit in the face with a shovel when she's trying to convey emotion in the Twilight films.
So that's what
every emotion that is as well.
All of
every single.
Yeah. Excited because a big hairy werewolf wants to get in your pants? Or excited because a really fast vampire that glistens in the sunlight's trying to get into your pants?
Let's talk about female authors and having questionable things in their books, because this one has a paedophile werewolf.
Right, but this was one also turned into 50 Shades of Grey. So are you really surprised?
Well,
true.
He missed out on one of them, and so then he was like, you know what, I'm just
next generation.
All
right, so
Puma, he didn't even wait. He literally was like, I'm printing you on when you're born. I mean, it wasn't even like a flash to the future. It was like a whole thing of where he actually imprints on her.
So this brings me back to the point. This brings me back to that really funny moment when
he's grooming, basically, which is funny because he's a werewolf.
Speaking of tremendous acting ability, every single person seems to be walking up to Puma on camera. And
we're talking about Ricochet, and we're talking about great acting.
That he can't talk back to them. It's amazing.
This is why you said Twilight. Prince Puma, Ricochet is the Kirsten Stewart of wrestling.
Bingo.
That's what I meant.
We cracked the code. Byron has actually done a smart thing with this.
He didn't mean to, but it happened.
I meant to.
I think he meant to. He probably wrote this all down somewhere.
I'll show it to you.
He's looking for it.
See?
He drew Jacob naked.
Like Mass Republic has tagged us in a post. That's never happened before.
Jacob went to my high school.
Did you tell him?
You mean
did he imprint on you?
The werewolf kid went to my school.
Well, see, that's how it also relates, because Jacob was also Shark Boy in Shark Boy and Lava Girl, which was a Robert Rodriguez film, which, you know, and Lucha Underground is a Robert Rodriguez thing. So that's how it all.
Kevin Bacon in this.
He also has like a 5th degree black belt in Taekwondo. Anyway,
you guys that I tweeted at Jericho about Deathmatch legend Dr. Luther, and he retweeted me, and people have been replying to me ever since.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So Jericho hasn't blocked you yet. That'll happen next week, I'm sure.
Oh,
how many wrestlers are you blocked by currently, Byron?
Oh man. So okay.
Can you count them on one hand, or are we up to two?
Kalisto, because everyone's bound by Kalisto.
So Titus, first of all.
That's great.
Kalisto.
Epic.
You know, everyone's blocked by Titus because he's still famous B. Titus, Kalisto, Hulkster,
Krista Joseph.
Chavo Guerrero still has been blocked because it's funny because Chavo and Byron are actually friendly.
Yes.
And I don't think Chavo even realizes he still has been blocked on IG.
No, he doesn't realize that he's that dickhead. He doesn't realize he's that dickhead.
He hasn't put 2 and 2 together yet, which is funny.
All right, shook my hand for $20 once.
Who else? You got Chavo. Who was the one after Chavo?
So I got 5. A DJ.
Oh,
DJ.
Joseph.
Technically,
no,
he was in ring talent.
He was in ring talent. Big Dick Johnson.
No, he's been in the ring. Ooh, I'm sure there's someone else. Oh,
Swerve.
Joey Ryan.
Joey Ryan has you blocked now.
Well done.
Yeah.
But he vanity searched that, I think.
Nice. And Meef, who are you at? You only have Swerve that's blocked you at this point. Right?
Kalisto, because he's blocked everybody because someone hacked his account and blocked everybody.
No, Kalisto, he was an ultimate jobber forever, still is. And then he came out with the new mask and he was all excited about it because it's the only thing he had to be excited about. And it looked just like Drago. And everyone's like, you look like Drago, dude. And he just started blocking people.
You guys.
That's
you're
what
a handful.
I would block, but Swerve was funny though, because I just said he got eaten alive whilst being in a promo with fantastic.
Well, I'm surprised that Ricochet hasn't blocked me yet, but that's okay. I'm sure he'll get around to it at some point.
No, because I don't tag him because I don't want to break his heart.
I haven't tagged him in a while, but I tagged him a few times in Lucha Underground. Like, dude, like when he said 3 words in season 3 or whatever, and I said stop talking. I added him with that.
I like Ricochet a lot. I think he's being misused, and I like Ricochet a lot.
I think he's being misused because if you can't speak up for yourself in wrestling, if you don't know how to get yourself over besides just flipping in and out of the ring, I mean, he's not the only guy in the world that can flip out of the ring.
No,
he's got that smile as well.
He cut a relatively great promo for New Japan, but it was one of the Long Beach shows where he just showed up, did some stuff, and said some stuff off camera, like I'm being held back, blah blah blah. I wanted to be here and wrestle, and everyone popped, and it was like a series of coherent sentences and emotion.
That's all it takes. A little bit of real emotion, a couple of coherent sentences. Don't push it too far. Get it in and out of there. Say what you need to do. Get a reaction from the fans and move on.
Yeah.
I mean, for Christ's sakes. Anyway, look, so back to Puma in this match. The match was actually decent.
Yeah.
Though I get what they're trying to do here. They're trying to build up this trios thing. It's a thing. I get it. And then you got all this weird cross heat at the end where Puma doesn't want Hernandez helping him out, but Cuerno doesn't mind those guys helping him out, but yet somehow those guys still don't win. And I don't know. I did like the moment where I think Trevor, our friend Ricochet, Puma, whatever you want to call him, actually improvised for a second when he kissed the headdress of King Cuerno. I think that was an actual improvisation, and it was actually telling a story, and it was kind of good.
And you'll hear a little bit from Konnan about how hot Trevor Ricochet would get because he couldn't cut promos. And I think between the restraint used and between, getting him riled up, it was to his benefit. And there were other moments too, like when, Casey, who isn't here because he's been taking the deuce for the past 3 days straight. We're like huge Pentagon fans, and there's one match, it was Puma versus Pentagon, and we got in his face with a Cerro Miedo because we're ringside, and after Puma did something crazy and dove and totally took out Pentagon, he got in Casey's face and threw the Cerro Miedo right in his face. He was good. He was good within those confines. He was great. And some of my favorite memories of Lucha Underground are Puma.
And I think I don't disagree. I think he was great. I think it was a good character for him too. And I think that over time, especially in the second season, I thought that he really grew into it and figured out what to do with it in a lot of ways. And the trick is he's a guy that you have to find natural ways for him to interact. And this is why I have so much heat with WWE over it. And it's not even just to make fun of Ricochet. It's the fact that they have a staff of 20 people that are there to make guys like that look good. And they can't somehow figure out something for him to do. This is not complicated. It's not. It's just not complicated. Anyway,
who won the match?
He won the Puma wins the match with the 630, 759.
He flipped 7 times.
He just kept flipping. It was just like this flip that never ended. But there was a spot in the middle that Cuerno kind of blew, and I couldn't tell if Cuerno got legit hurt here. Was this part of the start of his injuries and
stuff? Is that the springboard to the fireman's carry?
Yeah. That was just sloppy. But I think that was after he pulled up lame a little bit on something in one of the dive sequence moments or something.
You know what's interesting? First of all, speaking of dives, Johnny Mundo did one of his dumb parkour dives where he just kind of cannonballed over. And he
almost splatted
rolled over the people trying to catch him.
But see, I think that was part of what hurt Cuerno, because Mundo comes down right on Phantasma's chest there.
Yeah.
It was really kind of like, Mundo just kept going, and he was going to parkour and land kind of on his feet, but Cuerno was already laid out behind him, so he comes down and like really smashes right into his chest. And right after that was when Cuerno kind of blew that fireman's carry spot or whatever, and I don't think that was intended. So I don't remember exactly. We'll have to ask Casey if he ever shows up to work about that next week, because I'm sure he'll totally remember. So yeah, Puma wins the match. Next week, these two trioses will face off for the remaining spot in the trios tournament against Evil East, Son of Havoc, Angelico, right? And then who's the other team? I don't even remember who the other team is.
It was the Lucha Friends.
Lucha Super Friends?
Super Friends. It was Aerostar, Drago, who were slapping the hell out of each other, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll get Phoenix. Let's talk about that one. So the first
Phoenix match, 7 foot tall. Phoenix was a super heavyweight.
The third team is actually the brothers. The third team that's already qualified is Mac, Killshot,
my best friend,
Big Rick.
Big Rick. You know, it's amazing how
it shouldn't be that hard to remember black folks in wrestling, because there's only like 15 of them at this point in time in history.
Yeah,
they're all on Raw.
10 of them on Raw.
Well, maybe not after the draft.
Yeah.
Oh no, we split up the freaking New Day. Whatever, I'm get to that later, if at all, because I don't really care. So let me go back to the first match: Son of Havoc, Evil East, and Helico versus the Super Friends, who we know are Aerostar, Drago, and Phoenix. And this is their first time as the Super Friends in Lucha Underground, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The Lucha Friends, the Super Friends, whatever.
Because they haven't done a trios match, but they've all been in some sort of lucha.
And this match was fire. I liked this match, surprisingly, considering I'm not a huge fan of Son of Havoc. I'm a fan of Matt Cross, by the way, M-Dog Cross, but I'm not a huge fan of him as Son of Havoc in Lucha Underground, for the record. I would go see Matt on an indie show any point in time. I saw him on Maverick a few times live. I've seen him PCW. He's a great performer. I actually do like the guy in the ring. I just think his style is for Ring of Honor. It's for an indie show in Chicago. It's, not a style that works for Lucha Underground. He's far too exposed in his speed and his style for it to work in Lucha Underground to me. I just don't like him there. But not a bad guy. Love him. Super nice guy. And he's from Cleveland, so I can't hate on him completely. But again, not a huge fan of Son of Havoc. What I loved about this match...
It's the Vampiro trailer.
It's the trailer for Vampiro's new thing.
Can you put your microphone by the TV? I haven't seen the trailer yet.
That sounds off. And that's Expo Lucha back there. So right now they're showing the trailer for his movie. What the thing I liked about this match was Angelico. Angelico finally, this is the first time in Lucha Underground, to my knowledge, where he's actually gotten to do Lucha Libre with other luchadors that he's been wrestling with forever down in AAA. But you finally get to see, like, he's not just some tall, like, I literally, before this, it was like, if you were a Lucha Underground only fan and didn't know Angelico, you would think he was some tall white dude from Iowa that didn't know jack about Lucha Libre. Like, you would have no clue until this moment.
Despite having the best teachers.
Yeah. But that's the way that he was being used. Yeah. But that's why I liked this. Like, put all these other idiots on a team. Don't let them fight with each other. I liked, especially at the time, I liked Evil East, Son of Havoc, and Angelico being a team, even though I wanted him to be on a team with Jack. Whatever. Yeah. Can't have everything you want.
That's one of the eternal Lucha Underground wishes.
Yeah.
They wore matching tights.
It's so funny they kept on wearing the same gear. It's like,
Jesse, they referenced too that they used to team in Mexico.
Oh yeah, they referenced it a whole bunch because again, as you'll hear when Konnan talks a little bit later, Konnan as an agent was in the ear of Stryker. And one of the things you'll notice about season 1 is that Stryker has much more accurate information about the history of AAA, especially. And that never happened again after Konnan was gone. So it's really obvious where that stuff was coming from.
Yeah.
So
should have had a Casey.
I have a question for you, Justin.
Yeah, talk to me.
Because Angelico would always wear the Lucha Underground shirts. Do you think he showed up in his gear and he's wearing this bright yellow lime green shirt and one of the camera operators just went up and said no?
I don't think it was the camera operators. I believe it was actually Roach who thought that Angelico needed a darker thing just to rough him up around the edges. I believe that was what I heard, that Roach actually was the first one that suggested it.
Oh.
To Evie Dub.
Okay.
Oh, so you got
I don't think he did. No, I don't
lime
think
green top.
Yeah, lime green top, though, however, in that lighting scheme, in that room, it is dreadful. I mean, even their kick pads and stuff kind of didn't pop the right way in that room.
Yeah,
it looks great down in Mexico, though, in those big arenas, especially the main arena there.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought that the interesting, I like the super tower spot that they did with Aerostar off of Phoenix on the ropes.
They almost murdered like 3 people with that spot.
There was several almost murders, and this is the way Lucha Libre is supposed to be, damn it. But the hilarious thing to me was, so, Aerostar and Drago, of course, are having a little dust up because they're in the middle of their feud, even though they're both Technicos. But Drago goes in for the pin and actually gets called for not being the legal man. You want to talk about not really doing things the Mexican Lucha Libre way. They're actually following tag rules all of a sudden.
Can we check with our resident Lucha expert with that? Is that kosher?
Where's Casey?
Where's
Casey?
That's you by default. You have like 100 luchador masks, so you can answer this.
What, that they actually would break up the pin?
Yeah, it was just weird. Like,
is there an illegal tag partner at all in a lucha match?
Well, it depends. If you slide out of the ring, that means you're out, and anybody can jump in. So,
right. So, and this was just another one of those moments where it's like, okay, here is.
Do they even bother with it in America? I mean, let's be honest.
Not in WCW.
A lot of times, not anymore. But people are starting to do it again more now. But this is another one of those things where this is obviously, late Attitude Era DeJoseph coming in, or Ruthless Aggression Era DeJoseph trying to write Lucha Libre. And you saw a few of these things at this point in time. And don't get me wrong, I have great respect for Chris DeJoseph. I appreciate actually a lot of stuff that he did. But at the same time, he came out of the WWE system. Van Wagenen had worked over there. Roach is a writer and an early 90s wrestling fan. So that was the style of stuff that they were all accustomed to. And I don't think that their background was heavily in Lucha Libre. So you've got these moments that are missteps, to put it nicely. And I think that was a misstep, like making that a spot in a moment in a Lucha Libre, especially a trios match of all things. Like, no, it's just supposed to be fast, man. You can still tell the story, but like get to the action. I don't know.
Yeah, but it'd been interesting to have remembered that and asked Konnan about it.
Well,
there was definitely a lot of WWE in-match storytelling going on.
Yes, a lot at this point in time, and I can understand a little bit why, if you were one of the purists of Lucha Libre, why this part of Lucha Underground would frustrate you. And I think it frustrates me more now than it did when I first saw it. Because again, I liked the tag team. I really was excited about Angelico's performance in this match. Some of the spots are amazing. The Drago Aerostar slap fest that you get was a nice touch, with 2 Technicos slapping the holy hell out of each other. That was kind of fun. So I get it. And of course, Phoenix does a rope walk elbow drop thing. That was amazing. Onto somebody tied up in the ropes. That was dope. But anyway, Evie walked out, but somehow Havoc still got the shooting star press pin win, which was weird. It was like
he's probably up there waiting for 5 hours to do it. So
yeah, this was a distraction didn't matter kind of thing, which is, I guess, putting Havoc over more, that he can overcome the distractions of Ivelisse at this point. And was this the match where she pulled up lame, Byron? Because she was limping a little bit here, and the next time we see her
No, I believe it was.
Semi-final, isn't it?
So she on this one. No, was it semi or was it in the championship?
The next one is the final.
She was running off the.
Oh yeah,
it does a flippy thing.
It's in the championship match.
And then the other one was in the ring, and
then they defend in the ladder match or something, right?
Yeah.
And that's when she has the cast on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, they win this one to go on to the final, and that leads us to a match that was announced, which is Sexy Star versus Superfly. And Dario comes out and says, "Oh, well, since you guys are friends, and this is Technico versus Technico, let's just go ahead and make this mask versus mask." And even Vampiro on commentary, I don't know if he didn't know about this or what, he immediately starts assassinating this whole idea. Like, he says flat out, like, this is something that you normally lead up into for months, that is reserved for big rivalries and feuds. I don't know why, Dario is doing this. And they try to put over that Dario is spitting in the face of Lucha Libre traditions and whatnot. This whole thing is just off. This is just bad.
I mean, at the time, I totally get that Dario is a Spanish guy who is already an enemy of the Mexican culture, coming in and destroying the Lucha Libre culture too, or insulting it, disrespecting it. Like, I totally get that, but it was really, I mean, you have to defer to what the people say, and there's
getting heat though, and then there's also insulting your audience. Like, the audience in this match was, some of them were still pretty behind Sexy Star at the time, and they were kind of getting into her, but everyone was like, oh, there's got to be some kind of swerve or whatever. Nobody's losing their mask here in the middle.
Let's be honest, though. We know what happened. They were sat around coming up with ideas for stuff. They were starting to run out of some gimmicks and stuff they'd done. Look, mask versus mask matches, they're pretty popular. They have them quite often. We'll just throw one of them in. That's literally what happened. It was classic WWE writing. Yeah. Let's throw something. Like, I mean, something they don't even, because to them it's not even important. It's not even a flash in their mind. They probably didn't even think, "Oh, this is a problem." And they also probably thought themselves, Superfly had already lost it, and they thought, "Oh, let's push Sexy Star's image."
They put him back under the hood for Lucha Underground, showing that they probably wanted to just take it off of him again. Why not have weeks building into this in some fashion, even if it is still Sexy Star? There's no excuse for announcing it in the middle of a show, for having it be not the headliner, not the main event, and having it be sandwiched in the middle of the show as kind of an afterthought. The whole crowd is standing there like, wait, is he really going to take his mask off? Then he takes his mask off and they throw away all those traditions. They don't do any of the normal mask reveal traditions.
Naming him or
naming, none of it. Like, if you're gonna do it, like, make something out of it. Get a pop, show American fans what Lucha Libre is about. Listen, it was a horror show, and you don't have to take it from me or Byron or Meatloaf. You can actually hear what Konnan has to say about it, because he stopped by for Expo Lucha, and we're going to show you some of that interview right now. And this is literally the first question we asked him about Lucha Underground. So we're going to go over to Denise Salcedo on Lucha Central. See what she has to say about the network this week, and then listen to Konnan, because he'll tell it to you straight.
Hey everyone, it's Denise Salcedo here in Lucha Central with a reminder of where and when to catch all of the great network content this week. Get the full lineup and listen to all of our shows in the podcast network section of luchacentral.com. Sundays on the Lucha Central Facebook page, world-traveled shooter of the camera kind, Jerry Villagrana goes mano a mano with a fellow photographer to throw down about some of their favorite photos they have taken at Lucha Libre events. Monday, Business of the Business returns as Mass Republic President Kevin Kleinrock takes you inside how your favorite Lucha Libre merchandise gets made. On Tuesdays, Mass Mats and Mayhem takes you inside the world of Lucha Underground as they take you weekly through the series with the benefit of hindsight and the benefit of special guests from the groundbreaking series. Check out the premiere video stream every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on the Lucha Central YouTube channel and at luchacentral.com. Then listen to it on your favorite podcast platform every Wednesday. Tuesday nights live, it's Wrestle Boss, where Fabi Chulo talks MMA and pro wrestling with special guests and listener call-ins. Visit WrestleBossLive.com Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific to listen live or call in with questions or download the show on podcast platforms on Wednesdays. Wednesday nights live on Facebook, it's Spanish show La Mesa de los Márgaros, giving you both the news and the chisme from around the lucha world. Special guests and a whole lot of fun make it one of the most talked about shows in Mexico. Thursdays, it's Straight Out of the Bodega with Papo Esco and PWR promoter Gabriel Ramirez, as they have guests from throughout the wrestling world pull up to give an inside look into their careers. From indie standouts to television superstars, each week brings a new name and perspective. On Friday, it's your double dose of Lucha Central Weekly podcast, one in English y el otro en español. Lucha Central Weekly is where you'll find all the top stories of the week, both inside and out of the ring from Mexico and anywhere luchadores are in action across the globe. Be sure to subscribe and follow all your favorite Lucha Central Network series on your favorite podcast platforms, either by their own series name or subscribe to the Lucha Central Podcast Network show pages to get all of the shows in one easy feed. And please consider giving a rating to help more fans find the shows that you love. For now, this is Denise Salcedo signing off from Lucha Central Central. Have a great week.
All right, so look, I would take this completely in order, but fuck that. Let's jump right in on a hot one. I want to come at you hot with this one. Let's talk about a little Lucha Underground.
Right.
The Apuestas match. Something that I feel like Lucha Underground never got right. Superfly, Sexy Star. What the fuck, Konnan? Come on, break this down for me. Why did that go down that way in Lucha Underground?
That right there, that match was probably the beginning of the end of me in Lucha Underground, because I was having total meltdowns every week. And basically what happened is I don't know if you guys remember the original, like the original owners was this guy, Alex Garcia, who's like a movie producer, Dorian, Fogelman, and this other Spanish guy that he had like a soccer team at one time in LA. You remember him?
Oh,
I know Casey would.
I'm trying to think.
Okay, so those were like the main four owners, which none of them really knew about wrestling. You know, Dorian was the only one that knew about wrestling, right? So I remember that after the Sexy Star match, one of the owners came up to me and he goes, "What did you think of that match?" I go, "That was absolutely fucking brutal, bro. Very disrespectful to Lucha Libre. I cannot believe you put that." I just fucking went ham. And I remember that Dorian was like, "Bro, don't say that to the owner, you know?" I go, "Fuck that, bro. Why are you letting these guys do this shit? This is fucking bullshit." And he goes, "Well, I don't want to get involved. You know, I want to let them do their own way." Fuck their own way. They don't know. They don't know fucking Lucha Libre, dude. They come from WWE. This is bullshit. And I remember, and I was super mad because if you remember the premise of the match with zero buildup, let's just have Superfly and Sexy Star together. And I remember, bro, sitting in the back with Christopher DeJoseph, there was this, it was like a control room where you would tell the director, "Hey, a tope's coming here, or this is coming here," so they wouldn't miss the shots. So I'm sitting back there with Chris DeJoseph, and he's looking at the match, and he's going, "Wow, I can't understand why this match isn't that good. You know, Sexy's real good." And I was like, "What?" I go,
"Bro, you went wrong there."
I go, "The only reason she's good is because all these other motherfuckers are making her look good. She's not good. And you're seeing it right now in this fucking match." So, you know, they took the guy's fucking hood off, never did anything after that, you know? And I remember another match where they brought Big Rick in, and I was like, all right, he's a cool dude because he was very nice, but doesn't know about lucha. And they put him in a match again. I don't want to pick on her, against Sexy Star. It was fucking brutal. Okay, bro, Sexy Star is real tiny. She's like fucking Zelina Vega size, you know, like real small, you know? And they had her against this guy who doesn't know lucha. She's not a good worker. And, you know, this is kind of destiny in a way. He choke slammed her and actually gave her a concussion. They had to take her to the hospital.
Jeez.
You know, and that's what you get for that's not booked properly, you know? So all those things were driving me fucking crazy, and I just became very hard to deal with, very disrespectful, and it was like, you know, the end was gonna come real soon.
Well, it's one of the reasons why we've been eager to talk to you at some point, because that was one of the moments in season 1 that really got me pissed, because honestly, I feel like it is really lessened what an apuestas match means here in the States overall in general. Right. Since then, you know, regardless of the big matches, and even, you know, Meef is friends with Phantasma up there. Even when Phantasma lost his mask, I felt like that didn't track here in the States as well as it would have. And it all goes back to that Superfly losing his mask for the second time to Sexy Star and Lucha Underground and having it mean absolutely nothing.
Right. Zero buildup. And I was like, I can't believe that's where we make our most money. You know, that's like where we make our most money. We build it up. If you do it right, you could actually build it up a whole year. Like I did a storyline with Niño Hamburguesa and Lady Maravilla, which was like a whole year, bro. And it culminated in a hair match. You know, if you tell the story right, yeah, we can story tell. Americans, you know, just we like lucha libre. We like to be entertained. Sometimes we just like to turn off our brain and just fucking watch guys fly and do cool shit. Is there something wrong with that? You know, so but when we got to tell a story, we're gonna tell a story, because that's how you get the people in there to watch these big feuds, you know. And so I was very mad about, you know, like that really fucking set me off. As a matter of fact, we had a philosophical difference, me, Vampiro, and Chavo Guerrero, because they were more like, you know, they wanted more, a little bit more WWE wrestling. And I was like I want pure lucha, you know? And I was like, we're already watching WWE in various iterations. Let's give them pure lucha, bro. Let's give them what they came to see. And bro, I was right, because every time luchadors went against luchadors, they fucking rocked the house, bro. And I was like, there you go. And I remember we were having like these big philosophical differences, and they actually they brought us into a room one day, and I don't know if you remember this guy, John Fogelman.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We know all about Mr. Fogelman.
Right. So Fogelman, you know, has a bad temper. You know, he was just basically in there. He was like, yeah, you know, I've heard all this fucking Konnan, you're always bitching, and Vampiro, you're always been. Vampiro's like, who, me? What are you talking about? Motherfucker, you know why you're in here. So, you know, and he was just, you know, just give me a reason to fire any of you guys. I'll fire all 3 of you guys. He was just fucking going off. You know, and he goes, can you guys work together? And I was, yeah, you ain't going to catch us singing karaoke anytime soon, but yeah, we can work together. But we had like a philosophical difference, because my whole shit is, let's give them pure lucha. You know what I'm saying?
And those are the high points of season 1. What were you going to say, Meef?
I was going to say, one of the magical things about lucha is, like you said, just putting it for pure enjoyment. But the guys tell the story in the ring, you know, the Rudos versus Technicos, and they sell it with their expressions. So you do get that storytelling.
Yeah.
Which is why I hate American audiences and people around the world when they just ignore, like, you know, you don't need the massive build sometimes.
No, there's a little snobbishness to it, you know, we're American, you know, and they have to look down at anything that isn't, you know, from here. There's like a little, you know, subtle, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I got to ask this about the apuestas type matches. Was the problem in Lucha Underground just conceptually, or was it also the business model, because these guys couldn't make extra money? Like, could Lucha Underground have decided to bring somebody up and take their mask off, or what?
Yeah, no. And there were a lot. I'll give you an example, bro. So we were having WrestleMania, right? And I was like, well, why don't we bring Lucha Underground to WrestleMania? But of course, you know, they thought they were too artsy-dartsy, and they were like, oh, no, we're going to go to South by Southwest. And I was like, so let me see if I got this right. You have a chance to go to a place where for 4 or 5 days, fans from all around the world are going just specifically to see wrestling. But no, we're going to go to a music concert and hope that those music fans like wrestling. That's where we're going. You know, so those type of things, they lost money and shit like that. You know, like one time I remember I was in the office with Fogelman. He was talking to this company in South Korea. And yeah, I just closed a deal with this company. And I was like, and I actually looked up the company. It was like this company that like nobody watched the network. You know, they never toured, you know. So yeah, there were a lot of inherent problems.
It never made it to the UK.
Yeah, well, I remember season 1, we were buying merch from the wrestlers in the parking lot.
Yeah, like, yeah, that's right. They weren't even selling merch.
And then they made us stop wearing them in the lucha in the temple. We couldn't wear them in the temple.
How stupid was that?
Well, there was lots of money to be printed there, and there's been several dropped balls.
Well, here, let me throw a fan question at you because I think some of this might apply to this, and we can kind of help people unpack what the dynamic behind the scenes was a little bit. So Glenn Hernandez from Salt Lake City sent in a question to expolucha.com. He says, we hear Mark Burnett and Robert Rodriguez names mentioned a lot because the show was on El Rey and associated with MGM, but how much were Burnett and Rodriguez actually involved in the day-to-day of the shows? And I know the answer to this, but I'm going to let you answer this one.
I don't think they were involved at all. I just think they sent their crew, you know, like I think Skip Chasen, who's fucking a genius and a cool guy.
Yeah.
Skip, I think Robert like sent Skip, like I'm going to send my best guy. He didn't send some fucking J-Bron because the guy knew what the fuck we was doing.
Yeah, Skip.
So he sent Skip. I don't know who the fuck Burnett's, and I think maybe Van Wagenen and
Van Wagenen is Burnett's right-hand guy
right.
for this kind of stuff.
Right. But Burnett was a fucking pain in the ass because he just wanted more money. Like the second season got all fucking tied up and held up, and wrestlers were all pissed off because if you remember, they were telling wrestlers, "Yeah, don't wrestle anywhere for like the next few months because we're gonna come back and record," and they didn't. And like a lot of wrestlers lost a lot of money because they were waiting, and it was because of fucking Burnett. And I remember they were gonna even film it in Mexico instead of LA because that temple is very, very expensive. Don't look expensive, but it is. And so fucking I remember I said, well, fuck Mexico. Why don't we just go to Robert Rodriguez Studios in San Antonio and do it there if you're trying to save fucking money, you know? And so it was always a pain in the ass with him because he just wanted more money and more money. And he was a big problem, bro. I know I'll never be on Survivor after this, but it was a big problem.
Oh, look, never say never in reality TV or wrestling. It can right. always happen.
Right.
You
only have heat until they need you.
Exactly. So let me throw it back to how you got involved in this whole thing. You know, like we see Chavo's name on the show as a producer. What did they bring you in for originally? Were you supposed to be a writer, a booker?
Bro, that was the biggest
on-air talent.
Right.
What's the deal?
That was like that lit it off, and it was slowly burning until we got to that fucking sexy match. So originally I was supposed to be one of the writers on the show. Hello. You know, it's like, yeah, you know, like I think that's kind of common sense. So I was supposed to be one of the original writers. And I remember that they were like interviewing different writers because I actually had writers calling me and saying, yeah, I just got interviewed by them and we might be working together. And it was cool. Next thing I know, they're like, we went to Mark Burnett's office and they told us it was going to be Chris DeJoseph, who I didn't know who he was. I know he worked in WWE because I used to pop when he came out as Fat Dudley or whatever his name was. Dick Johnson.
Big Dick Johnson.
Yeah. When he came out as Dick Johnson, I thought that was hilarious. And so, and I remember like one of the first times that we talked, I don't know whose idea this was, but they wanted to put like a box in the middle of the ring and do some really weird shit. And I was like, bro, that's fucking brutal. And then next thing I know, you know, they weren't answering my calls. And then I was hearing that, oh no, you're not going to write. We'd rather have you be an agent, you know? And I was like, okay, well, fuck it. And I told Dorian, bro, you brought me here under the fucking pretense that I was going to write the show. And now I'm an agent. You know, and he goes, no, don't worry. You know, we'll get that fixed. But for right now, let's see how they do. Right there, I'd already smelled fishy. I was like, all right, bro, you're not going to bullshit a bullshitter. Then on top of that, fucking, I remember that I took him to a show once in PWG and I told him we need to sign Ricochet, AR Fox.
Yes.
What's this other? The Rich Swann, the Young Bucks, Kevin Steen, Brian Cage, and Willie Mack. Those are the guys I said.
They got about 20% of that, right?
Right.
Eventually.
So, right. But here's why Lucha Underground was always, this is the type of shit that only Lucha Underground would do. They had some jack-off, yes, you are a jack-off, called Tony Jensen. He was the lawyer of the fucking company, okay?
Yeah.
So they had this guy who doesn't know shit about wrestling, okay? Doesn't know how to talk to wrestlers. You know, you got to be able to talk their language. All right. And he calls the Young Bucks and he offers them $250 each. So they basically told me to go fuck myself and that, yeah, they'd sign if they got $2,500 each. And I was like, bro, Dorian, why don't you let me talk to the wrestlers? I already have a connection, a relationship with a lot of them, and I know how to go back and forth. But no, they kept him there. Then we ran into another problem because Gabe, the dictator Spokowski, had these 3 guys under contract. None of these 3 guys had a copy of their contract. None of them knew when their contract ended. You know, I was like, Gabe, you know, when, you know, can we, oh, that's torturous interference. I'm going to sue you if you keep talking to my talent. I go, well, are you going to have them under contract forever? I go, so we had to actually pay money to Gabe and a big amount too to get Ricochet. Because I kept going, bro, Ricochet's the man. Ricochet's the man. You need to get this guy. And they did. Then when we went to get AR Fox, he wanted more money. And that Lucha Underground was like, fuck him. And I was like, you know what? You're right. Fuck him. So, but,
well, see, this does bring us to another question too, from Jose Acosta. He wanted to know what it was like for you managing Prince Puma. And we've heard from Eric Van Wagenen and Skip on our show that Fogelman said that nobody was allowed to talk that first season except for you and Chavo and a couple other select people. Right, Byron? Who all did he say was allowed to talk?
Dario?
Dario, Luis. Yeah.
Luis, I mean, the only actor on the show got to talk. And
Mundo. So basically, there was like 4 of you that Fogelman was going to let talk.
We just, this past week's episode, we went over the Hernandez's first episode. And he even came on and got to say a few words in front of Puma, which we thought was kind of funny.
So what was the deal? I mean, look, I will not be the first one to say that Ricochet cuts a hot promo because I haven't heard one yet. But at the same time, like, what was your feeling? And it seemed like that was the role that they kind of pushed you into, was being the face of this guy, the stick for Ricochet.
Right. So what happened was, and you know, one thing I was very flattered because he did tell me that once. He was like, you, Dario, and ADR, you guys are fucking stars. And I was like, well, bro, coming from a guy from Hollywood, that's a compliment, right? So
one of the few, I'm sure.
Yeah, right. So, but you know, I'm all good. I don't really, to me, you know, I shake hands with any of them. Just, I'm going to tell the truth too, you know, and because I saw him in LA not too long ago, and he was, yeah, I heard you were mad at me, you know, and I go, yeah, I was mad. And I told him why, you know, and we squashed it. Some other guy, some other owner goes, yeah, I heard that you were mad at me. I go, yeah, I was fucking mad at you. And I'm going to tell you why. And, you know, we squashed it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't like to carry negative energy, but I'm also not going to bullshit people because everybody's too afraid to say anything nowadays. So we just end up going around in circles and bullshitting each other. And I'm just straight to the point. So anyways, how did you feel about Puma though? That Puma,
first season with Ricochet? Yeah.
Well, what happened was you got to remember 2 things. Trevor was not a good promo, and he was supposed to be Mexican. So, I mean, you know, when you hear him talk with a country accent, because he's from Kentucky.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that was a good move. But I will say this, Trevor, you could tell he never, ever told me personally, but he hated it. He hated that he couldn't talk, and he would get hot up in the ring a couple of times. I go, bro, quit being a fucking mark. Just right now, it is what it is. You know, one day they're probably going to let you talk, but in the meantime, just chill the fuck out.
And eventually they did. I mean, he got a few words in after people had forgotten that his character was supposed to be Latino.
Right.
You know, but hey, his brothers in Boyle Heights.
I want to ask you a question, you 3, because you guys are super fans of the show. I really stopped watching it after season 1 when I was on it. I might have watched a little bit of 2, but I kept reading this on Twitter a lot. And they were going, oh, you know, it's going downhill. Why are they doing this? And there was almost like some sort of shift. And it wasn't just a couple people. A lot of people were like, what happened in the show that it kind of turned sour for a percentage of the people?
He wants to go first.
Oh, well, I could say it goes back to your philosophical differences. I think you were in tune with the audience, at least in the temple. The big universal thing with fans is Lucha Underground made wrestling fans, like reborn wrestling fans. They brought them back, and it was seeing that Lucha Libre that they loved, and they went away from it.
And Byron, let me tell you something. This what Outlaw LA Reed, LA Red? What's your real name?
Justin.
Listen to this, guys. Meatloaf. Okay, check this out. Bro, I went to the following countries. Okay, I went to Bolivia, Puerto Rico, Sudan, Qatar, however you want to fucking call it. All right. Chile. Okay. Chile. Every single place I went, they knew what Lucha Underground was, but yet they didn't have El Rey. It was like an underground fucking, like, it was really hotter than we know, you know. And I found out when I was going to these countries and you know, they were asking, you know, Ray to sign Lucha Underground stuff and ADR to sign them and me too. And I was like, wow, you guys know about Lucha Underground? They were really into it. So yeah.
Yeah, one of the running jokes during we did the first run watch through was the fact that I used to watch it illegally because they just didn't have a deal. Which
you doing a podcast about the show and never watched it legally once at the time.
The UK literally had the biggest, hottest scene at the time because it was like 2016, 15.
Yeah, super.
And like that's when like Brit Wrest was huge, and it was like, right, if you put Lucha Underground there, because everybody here knew it, and they're insane. But
let me throw in another one.
Question though was literally the fact that I, like Byron said, came back to it, but loved it.
But let me ask you, Jason. So what happened that fans kind of turned on it a little bit, in your estimation?
There was a few things. The first long hiatus and the fact that their business model didn't work out for touring.
Yeah, that long hiatus killed them.
Because
all the hiatus did.
Yeah, even the fans that were really still invested in the product, that really believed in the characters and what they were doing with the storylines, even those fans, including ourselves, started to get aggravated by the fact that they couldn't get their business model together. We couldn't get the kind of merch we wanted. We couldn't see the show. We couldn't see house shows. They couldn't keep our favorite workers employed the right way. And like everybody in that crowd was a smart fan to a certain extent. I won't call them marks because marks are people that you put a mark on to get money out of. If you're talking about the old Carney terms, we weren't marks because they weren't getting any fucking money out of us.
Right.
That's how stupid they were, that you had this crowd of smart fans sitting there at your disposal that you could be taking advantage of.
They're
not even marking us out
for fucking hours in the sun.
I've done it.
Yeah.
And that's the amazing thing to me. It's like, yeah, so over the course of all those years of Lucha Underground, all the times that I've been there, they literally made $65 off of me, Konnan. $65. A 4-year fan. How do you only get $65 out of that guy? That's horrible. So I'm not even a Lucha Underground mark. There's no such thing as a Lucha Underground mark. You make money off of marks. They never made a penny off of any of us. It was a bad business model. But that was a big part of the shift, I think. And then season 4, they brought in a lot of indie talent that I really liked. They did a lot of great things, but you know, a lot of the complaints from the fans, especially the Latino fans, were, you know, the whitening of Lucha Underground was a big problem in season 4. And we've had Chris Roach and DeJoseph and Evie Dub and some of those guys on the show and even asked them about it. They did not realize that they were doing it or that it was happening at all. They genuinely blank stares like, what? We just thought we were bringing in good guys and whatnot.
Right, because they're white. Because they're white. Yeah. So I was like, being a Latino, I would always make sure that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, a percentage. Like they were so white by season 4, they were paler than me.
And I like those performers, man. I mean, like I think Jack Swagger is a hell of a guy, nice guy.
He's not a lucha guy. He's not. Right. He doesn't survive well in our ecosystem. It's a whole different style, bro. It's a whole different feeling. You know what I'm saying?
Now,
and let me just say this. I want to say this. I can't talk about it right now because it may not happen, but it might. You know, there could be a possibility that I will be able to bring back lucha to the United States my way and in a grand way. And I want to bring in everything from our cultures, everything from Puerto Rican culture, Cuban culture, Mexican culture, from the music, salsa, merengue, to everything, bro. You know, the music that like Bad Bunny, you know, Zuna's doing, all that, you know, Latino urban and all that, and just fucking cool shit. Hopefully I may be able to get the chance to do that right one day.
Well, you absolutely let us know when that's happening, because we will shout it out to the world. I will say this, though, about the whitening of Lucha Underground. The one guy that we definitely signed off on that we loved was Kevin Cross from the get-go.
Right.
He actually even announced getting signed to Lucha Underground on our show. You know,
really?
we've been great friends with. We saw him in one of those dark matches, and we all just knew as fans sitting there that, like, hey, this guy has something different. I want to be on board with this guy right now from day one. Mm-hmm. And we stood behind him the whole time, all the way up to where he's at now, in WWE, because the guy put in the work and he showed something different, and you could just see it from day one. So he was the guy that we supported. A lot of the other ones, maybe not so much.
There are certain guys, whether it's Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, or even Ricochet, Kevin Cross, that when I see them, I only need to see them once, and I know they're special. And you guys saw that too. From the way he carried himself, to his look, to respect for the business, very articulate. Just, bro, I loved working with him. And poor guy, because when I went to Mexico isn't used to like squash matches, and I needed him to squash a whole bunch of people, and they were like, oh, we're not going to fly him in just to squash somebody in 40 seconds. I'm like, bro, you got to look at the long-term picture, but Mexico still is a third world country, and, they just can't be spending money like that, Right. So it was very hard, and it was a different style, and I tried the best I could with him. And it's so funny because right before he left, he was going to do his first job. I had him undefeated. Okay. He was going to do his first job, and I was going to put him in Los Ingobernables, who right now are undefeated. So him, Rush, LA Park, that would have been so fucking badass. Yeah. And he escaped from you without me getting the job back from him. I put him over for as long as I was there, 3 years, and he never did one fucking job.
Hey, you never know. Maybe one day he'll show up with that briefcase and cash it in finally.
Yeah, no, I love him, bro. He's got nothing but love and respect from me, bro. Great guy.
One of our favorite moments ever was the Phantasma and Tejano feud that was going on when Kevin Cross got involved in it. Right. And he went into the crowd.
The popcorn.
And the crowd were trying to attack him and stop him, and some woman went to throw herself underneath Tejano's stretcher as he threw him off it. It was just fantastic TV.
That must have been when Vampiro was there, right? Or was that
maybe?
Yeah,
I don't know if they played his music or not.
So Vampiro was doing that shoot work with Mundo or whatever that he was trying to pull off.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if you ever saw this, but I wasn't watching because I left AAA for 2 years. I think I went to another promotion called Crash.
Yeah, the Crash. Yeah, we love it.
Yeah, thank you. And so we did one day, I don't know how I saw it, but he was on TV, and this is a shoot, bro. He was on TV and he was talking to Fabi Apache. When she turned around, he had disappeared. And I was like, what? Did you ever see that?
No.
So he was playing some disappearing character, a supernatural character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was
anybody that's listening to this show, right into
amazing.
Justin, so Justin doesn't think I'm too high, which I am, but I did not invent that.
Yeah. No, I remember he became an on-camera talent person, talent executive as well.
Yeah, but he was doing some gimmick. I really didn't remember what it was. Where he was
every match had him come in, didn't it? Every kind of main event was Vampiro come down and would be throwing out the result. The cage match with Phantasma and Tejano, where they cut it to shit, and then I think Tejano nearly fucking murdered Vampiro backstage.
Yeah, bro, he got a lot of heat because fucking Phantasma called me and he was fucking livid. But even worse was this. I saw this once. They were in Juarez and they were in a cage, and Vampiro came in and Psycho Clown was in the ring, Phantasma was in the ring, and Kevin Cross was in the ring. He came in and Kevin Cross, I think, pushed him, or he pushed Kevin Cross, and I thought he was going to leave the ring, right? No, he doubled down and closed the cage door and confronted Kevin again. And I was like, wow, really? You punked Kevin, Psycho, and Phantasma? That's
not smart,
dude.
Yeah.
Let me throw in this question from our friend Alex in Bakersfield. He wants to know, is there anyone else you would have brought into Lucha Underground that you didn't get a chance to, that you would have liked to have seen there?
Yeah, AR Fox. But he ended up going there, right?
And was one of my favorites. I was a fan of AR when he was in CZW and whatnot. But man, when he came into Lucha Underground, the stuff he did blew fucking doors for me, and it made Killshot that character too.
He's ridiculously talented. Listen to this. One time, him and Willie Mack were in Mexico wrestling for some small promotion. I think it was DTU. And they were like, yeah, it's our day off today. And I was doing a TV taping. And they said, well, if you need us, we're going to be hanging around. And from some stroke of luck, somebody missed the show that day. So I put them in the ring. They'd never been seen in Mexico. Nobody knew who the fuck they were. I've never seen this in my career. I've never seen anybody in their debut match have money thrown into the ring. And bro, they had money thrown into the ring.
Hey man, I would throw money at AR Fox right now if anybody could find his ass, man. He's
in Atlanta. And I asked one of his students, this guy called Zenshi, because I'm gonna go to Atlanta to do a personal appearance. And I was like, bro, why don't we get him on the show? He goes, he's gonna ask for a lot because he's making a lot of money now giving like wrestling classes.
Yeah. He'd be a great guy to learn from too. I mean,
he's fucking awesome.
He's fucking sick. And the stuff he did with Swerve and Lucha Underground was really good. That was one of the high points to me of some of the later seasons.
Swerve.
Yeah, Swerve ended up. Swerve hated being under a hood too, though, man. He didn't dig it.
Yeah, he didn't need a hood, bro. He's a good-looking kid.
Yeah, and he's out there now doing it without it.
NXT, he's doing his shit. Good shit. Phantasma, man, he's fucking killing it.
Yeah, Meef is probably one of the biggest Phantasma fans. I don't know if you can see all those masks back there, but 80% of them are.
This is Penta and Phoenix.
Oh, so I'm gonna give you a Phantasma story just for you, Meef. It's Meef? I thought it was Meat. All right. Meatloaf sounds better, dude. So
that's why I look like Meatloaf, because I used to have hair down to my hips. So
yes, and you look like you eat meatloaf too. But anyways, here's the thing with Phantasma. So I've known Phantasma since he was a little boy. Okay, and I remember I would go to the gym. You can ask him if you ever see him. His dad, Phantasma Senior, would always say, if you want to grow up to be strong like Konnan, because back then I had like a bodybuilder physique, he was like, you got to eat all your food in the morning, right? So he'd always eat his food because he wanted to be big and strong. So his dad told me that they weren't really using him right in Arena Mexico. He was like in the third match, and so I talked to him and he came over here and he had never done a promo. And if you go back and you look at his debut, it was in Puebla. I'll never forget it. It was in Puebla. And I gave him the microphone. I told him to cut a promo and bury CMLL. Bro, he could not cut a promo. He was out of shape. And I told him, I go, straight up, dude, if you want to be a star, you got to look like a star. You're in really bad shape. He got in tremendous shape and he became one of my biggest studs. He was the leader of the Mercenarios. He was going to be the leader of my other group that I had, I think the Sociedad, what were we called at the end? I had some group at the end that he was going to be the leader of. And, he just turned into a big star. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you look at his promos now and the thing that we always comment on, like in NXT was like,
but look at his promo from Puebla and his debut. I gave him the mic.
I'll check that out.
Since they don't really talk too much in CMLL, he was fucking brutal.
All right, I got another question here. This one is from unknown, hailing from unknown, height unknown, weight unknown. Is it true that someone refused to put Penta over at Ultima Lucha, leading to Penta versus Vampiro instead?
Was that in season 1?
Yeah.
Season 1.
This is the Del Rio story, isn't it?
I don't remember that. Is it something with Del Rio? I do remember that Del Rio was super, super pissed because he had a match with, I think that Marty the Moth.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a squash match. Okay. I mean, the fucking word is it, squash match, So he went in there and he got accused of poor Van Wagenen. He got caught in the middle of this one. So I think Van Wagenen was the one that told Fogelman that ADR didn't want to sell for Marty the Moth, right? And so ADR went and confronted Van Wagenen. Van Wagenen didn't know that Fogelman had told ADR. So he was like, what the fuck? Who told you? And he was protecting Vampiro, but Vampiro was one that told him that he didn't sell. And he was like, well, I'm just telling you right fucking now. A squash match means just that, a squash match. You don't give the guy anything. You don't sell for him. It's your turn to look good. So, and he was really mad at him. And I got mad at Van Wagenen too, because I used to tell him, bro, and I don't want to keep picking on Van because we've made amends, but he would actually get on the show and who he personally liked, he'd put over, and who he personally disliked, he'd bury. So he'd bury me and he'd bury ADR. And I was like, hey, we're baby faces. Why is he burying us? oh, that's just Vampiro. I go, fuck that, bro. He shouldn't be burying us. We're baby faces. You know what I'm saying? Is he a heel now? If he's a heel commentator, then he should be burying us. But he can't put over other face guys and then bury us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
who was that gorilla?
ADR, straight up, this is a true story. ADR was seconds from beating his ass, and I stopped him.
Yeah, because he can shoot. He can shoot fight.
Yes.
And
he's got a very bad temper too.
Who was in Gorilla that was in Vamp and Striker's ears? Like who was talking to them during the show?
Whoever was in the control room, usually the Joseph and the agent of that match. Like I would give Striker lines. Like, hey, the Villanos won this championship, or they did that. So I'd give him lines. I would never really tell Vamp anything because he's the type of guy that very unpredictable, is going to do what he wants anyway. So I'm like, bro, that's kind of a waste of time. So I just give Striker like, a lot of like historical information and shit. But my big peeve was like, you need to control this guy because he's just fucking. That's very unprofessional.
Well, I think that was one of the things that was missing. And from what I've heard from Skip and EV Dub, one of the things that they loved about having you in Lucha Underground was that kind of input and giving the historical context, whether it be from wrestling in Mexico to the Aztec stuff and kind of some of the folklore stuff that you were kind of helping them navigate through, which added to the world. But we noticed a match recently, because we've been rewatching the whole show from the beginning again, where Vampiro was saying lots and lots of very nice things about you on the mic, and we could swear to God that you were in his ear or something during that match, because it was cracking us up.
I would never tell him to talk good about me, but I just thought it was very unprofessional that your job as a commentator is to enhance the match, not be taking out your personal fucking issues on other people. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're a heel commentator and that's what you are, then you need to stick by that. You can't put over other baby faces. So he was selectively, whoever he liked is basically who he would. And I told Van Wagner, and I like Van Wagner. I got along with Van Wagner, and I did. But, I told him, bro, you need to check this motherfucker. And he was like, oh, well, that's how Vampiro is. That's his style. I go, that's not professional.
All right. So here's a hypothetical for you, Konnan. If Triple Mania were to be up and running tomorrow, but you could only have either Vampiro on commentary or Kevin Gill, who would it be?
I would just shoot myself twice. One doesn't know what the fuck he's saying, bro, which would be Kevin Gill, big buckethead himself. And Vampiro would steal everybody's lunch. He would have no trepidations of during a match getting up and just stealing all the attention from the fans, So I had to, I was like, bro, you can't be doing that anymore. That's why he's basically not there.
Yeah, he's got a talk show now. So we'll.
How is that going?
I haven't watched one yet, to be honest. So let's see. This one comes from Disco Ballgag in Peoria, Washington.
Tremendous.
That's a great name, Disco Ballgag. What was the plan for Konnan in season 2 if you had stayed on? But did they have plans for you? Was it going to keep down this path? Did Dorian know what he was going to do with you?
Yeah, Dorian didn't write. The guys that wrote was Chris, some other pair.
Chris
Roach.
Yeah.
And then another third guy. There was like 3 guys. The short guy, I forgot his name.
Yeah, I forget him too.
But anyways, those were the guys that were really writing the show. And I just think that once they knew that I was on my way out, they, because I would always ask Chris, what's going on? He very disingenuously was, oh, I don't know. But he knew exactly what was going on. And so I think once they knew that I was on my way out, that's why they wrote me off the show. They put me in a casket or some shit.
Now, did they ever take any input from you into the writing room? I mean, it feels like your hands were definitely on a lot of that early stuff, but was that just from agenting, or did they actually incorporate some of your knowledge base into the writing?
Yeah, no, I would give them a couple of ideas here and there how to make things better, but it was mostly them, And like I said, my whole thing was when I came to grips that, okay, I'm not gonna be writing this like I was promised. I was like, I'm going to try to keep it as authentic as I can. So whenever they do something that would break with that, I would just fucking go nuts, and maybe I think I melted down way too many times, and they just said, "Fuck this guy," you know.
So how did it actually end, Konnan? I mean, like, what was the breaking point? Did they tell you to kick rocks? Did you tell them to kick rocks? What happened? How did it actually come to an end?
Well, it was just building up, you know, because you know, I would, you know, I will give you an example, bro. One time, I had a big issue with Sexy Star because she did not want to sell. Listen to this, for Brian Cage, okay? And I was like, bro, you're giving these girls way too much power, because Evelise would be cutting promos on Jack Evans, on Angelico, on Matt Cross. If you've ever met like Angelico, Matt, they're the coolest, most chill out guys. She's always cutting promos, and then she had like a cast on her leg, and they were still letting her guys with crutches. And she was telling, I was like, bro, you're giving these girls way too much power. They don't want to sell. They don't want to do any. So I was just always complaining about what I thought was wrong, because in Mexico, there's no way that would happen. Right. You know, and because you have to have discipline, to have organization, and to have respect, and to have professionalism, you know. So, you know, they were into that whole woman empowerment thing that, you know, LA being LA, and Robert Rodriguez was into it, and all the snowflakes were kind of into it. So yeah, I'm all for women empowerment. Cool. I am too. But they were like taking advantage of it. You know what I'm saying? And when you're her size, and when you're Brian Cage's size, and you want to sell for him, we've got a problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, look, the Taya Brian Cage match was fire. That shit was the right way to do it. Whatever got it to there was great. But the stuff that they did in season 1, especially like the weird rapey shit with Angelico and Evilise, that stuff was just creepy, man. We've been watching it recently, and it's just like, wow, that was off the mark. Yeah. And it didn't make sense. And the Big Rick Sexy Star thing, that one didn't make sense either. But, you know.
Here's another thing that I want to say. I want to give much props to Dario Cueto. What a professional. What an incredible. I saw him in some show the other day, he looked, but anyways.
Yeah, Luis Fernandez Gil, he's a great guy.
Yeah, and what I loved about working with him was that when, you know, usually when I do a promo, I'm usually the most experienced guy, and I have to carry the other guy. And obviously when I was young, they did the same thing for me. But when I was with Dario, it was incredible, because we kind of carried each other. We fed off of each other's energy, you know. And Skip was really cool, because he actually brought us a scene once, which I thought was fucking dope. You know that famous scene where Robert De Niro and Al Pacino from Heat
are at
the table, and they finally meet? Bro, he gave us that scene, and I was like, really? Is that like what you really think we can do? You know, and we just looked at it once, and then we just fucking carried that energy to the promo, and working with him was fucking incredible, bro. That was a highlight for me over there. And working with Skip was a big highlight too.
Yeah, Skip is amazing. We did a 2-part interview with him on this show and got to ask him about a lot of those. And he told us that, you know, he got inspiration from a lot of different places, because, you know, he was a guy who made all those hot trailers in Hollywood. So he knew how to cut for Ridley Scott and for Steven Spielberg and for Robert Rodriguez. Like, he knows every big director's style, because he's the guy that makes their trailers, and he makes them hot. He makes them fire. So, you know, he was bringing that to Lucha Underground and creating his own style kind of out of that fact that he, you know, he's the ultimate guy to pay homage to those directors.
Bro, he had one time I did this scene like in the water where I was fighting a whole bunch of guys, and he brought like his Taekwondo instructor to teach me how to do everything right. And then like I forgot the name of the movie, but he was really into this Japanese martial arts thing for Pentagon, and he made me watch that movie, and I was like, well, I didn't even know this guy existed. But, you know, he was a very cerebral guy.
Yeah, it's pretty badass. So I do want to talk to you about Phoenix and Penta, and especially their early runs. Right. You know, Phoenix seemed like the guy who was the young buck coming out of Mexico that got the push season 1. Were you one of the people behind him getting that push? How did that come about? Because when you go back and watch it now, like, it makes perfect sense knowing who Phoenix is now. But back then, like, I was excited to see Drago. I was excited to see Penta, because I cracked up with his stuff with Aussie Suicide that was going on in AAA. Like, I love that stuff. Cracked me up. I didn't know much about Phoenix. And he comes in, and then all of a sudden, he's the guy getting the rub that first season. Like, Who knew? Because somebody obviously knew.
Well, I knew because I'll tell you why. When Rey Mysterio first debuted in WWE, he came back to AAA. It might have been like, I want to say 2012, but it might have been later. But around that time, he wasn't in WWE anymore, and I brought him back. And I remember we were in Guadalajara. I'll never forget it because the show got canceled the day before because it was raining. And I remember telling Ray, see this kid right here? His name is Phoenix. He goes, he met you when he was like 12 years old in a mall, and he didn't get to talk to you because there were so many people, and he cried that day. And I go, he wants to shake your hand, Ray, but he's going to be the next great high flyer out of Mexico. You know, and they shook hands, and when he later saw him in Lucha, you know, in AAA and then Lucha Underground, he was like, wow, you were right. Because Phoenix that guy was special from the moment I saw him. And when I met him in Pentagon, this is a true story. I had actually met him they were inside of a ring, and they were just practicing around, and they were dressed so poorly that I thought they might be kids that lived in the street. So I really felt sorry for them, and I wanted to help them. Plus the fact that they were talented as fuck. And I was like, okay, look, I can't just bring you into AAA. So we're going to have these tryouts, go to the tryouts. And I remember they went to the first tryout, and, you know, Dorian's dad and him, well, we're not sure. And I was like, bro, why do I even have to ask you guys? Hasn't my history been good enough of me, you know, creating stars that I don't have to get you? Well, we need to see him again. And then one time, Pentagon can tell you the story, and I think this is when I got over with them. We were at this show, and they made him wait till after the show was over to do the tryout. So they'd been there for like fucking 6-7 hours, bro. It was fucking 3 a.m. That's when we were finally getting out of there. And they came back to me, and they were really sad. And they were like, yeah, I guess we're not going to get to do our tryout. And I was like, fuck that. Put the fucking ring up, and we're going to have a tryout right now, and everybody's going to stay, and everybody's going to fucking watch it. And I think that really impressed them. They never forgot that, you know? But that's the way I am. You know what I'm saying? When I believe in somebody or something, I'm going to go the extra mile, you know? And, you know, Phoenix came the other day over here because he doesn't live too far from me. He gave me some Boston Celtics sneakers, you know, like it's all love, you know, and I love those guys. And whether it's Rey Mysterio or the original Psychosis or Halloween or LAX or Ty or any of those people, you know, I love all those guys. You know what I'm saying? We spend a lot of time together. You know, watch for the next people that are coming. Daga and Taurus and Laredo Kid and Hijo de Vikingo and Viano and all those guys, bro. There's a new group that's going to be coming too, and they're going to kill it.
Yeah, Daga and Taurus are high on my list right now. And Phoenix, he has a crazy story with Lucha Underground because things got real trepidatious there in the middle for him because his situation with AAA was weird. So all of us Lucha Underground fans, we didn't know what was going on, you know, and you had him down there in the Crash for a while and other places, and we're helping him out. Like, what was it like for him, you know, from a worker standpoint, going through that? Like, we all know contracts or whatever, like shit happens, shit gets tenuous sometimes and whatever. But what was it like for him going through that experience to be able to come out of it on the other side now and be universally respected as one of the top guys out there?
You know, which contract, the AAA contract or the Lucha?
Yeah, both of them. I mean, it was all kind of rolled together.
And simultaneously, yeah, because if you had heat with AAA, you had heat with Lucha Underground. So, yeah. You know, at first he was afraid because, you know, they were actually sending cease and desist letters and promoters like, yeah, we're not going to use them. And that's actually how me and Dorian actually had to talk again. I'm going to tell my story the way it should be told instead of other people saying it. What actually happened is that Ed Nordholm from Impact Wrestling is very good friends with Dorian. Okay. Mm-hmm. And he told me one day, he goes, just so you know, you keep using Pentagon and Phoenix. You know, that's not their names. This guy's going to keep suing you. And if you put him on TV, he's going to sue you. Just so you know. So I basically had a meeting with Dorian where I just basically said, okay, is there any way that because, you know, those were my two biggest stars. Is there any way that we can pay you a percentage or we can come to some agreement so they can use those names, you know? And he was really mad at me. You know, he was like, yeah, you know, you've been insulting me on your podcast and you're talking about my mom and all this. And, you know, and he was very, he was like, no way, basically, like fuck off, actually. And so the guy from Crash was really mad with me that I went to talk to Dorian. He thought I was going back to AAA to ask for work. And I was like, no, motherfucker, I'm trying to get him to quit suing us because we're going to fucking go broke pretty soon with all these fucking cease and desist letters, So Phoenix was very afraid because, he didn't want to have to pay lawyers' fees, and he didn't some promoters are like, fuck it, he can sue us all he wants. And other promoters are like, no, we're not going to use you. So it was a really hard time for him. And thank God I was able to fix the situation, because when Crash finally, they actually let me go. And then Dorian called me and he was like, is this an angle? Is this a shoot? And I was like, no, it's for real. And then, he sat down and he talked to me, and then, we kind of squashed everything. You know what I'm saying? And I came back, and really straight up, I would tell you if it wasn't, it's been 3 beautiful years since I came back. Everything he promised me, he did. And he's been very easy to work with, very easy to work with. And I think that he recognizes some of the mistakes that he made in Lucha Underground and other places.
I've said this on our show before too. Like I've only talked to Dorian a couple of times and haven't had a ton of interaction with him, but it seems like there was a point during Lucha Underground actually between seasons 3 and 4, where he turned a corner. He stopped doing a lot of the stuff that, made fans angry, that was getting him heat with us and getting him heat with the boys too. And I don't know exactly what it was, if there was some catalyst. The way I looked at Dorian, honestly, was that he was this guy who was trying to impress his buddies, whether it was those original Lucha Underground owners or it was the Combates Americas guys over there with ADR, whatever it was. It felt like every time Dorian was in a room, he was trying to impress somebody. But for some reason, maybe just age, wisdom, time, maybe somebody got in his ear or something, it seemed like about 2.5 years ago, he just really turned a corner and changed. Was there something going on there?
I don't know, but he has changed 100%, bro. When I talked to him, and I was like, all right, let's see how much bullshit this guy's gonna throw at me. And when I talked to him, he was very he never said I'm sorry, but you could tell he was sorry. He regretted. I think, I'm gonna tell you the truth, bro. I really think that when I left, he was like, okay, well, I brought Vampiro in, right? I thought he'd be able to fill his place. Okay. And Pentagon, Phoenix, Garza, Dada, Jack Abbott, all these people, most of them have contracts, and they still left with him, and he doesn't even have TV. I think when a lot of wrestlers left and they had to change the way they did business in the promotion, I'll give you an example. This was like one of the things that Pentagon and Phoenix were actually mad at, and Daga too, Taya. From Mexico City to Laredo, it's 17 hours. And they would get on a bus, and it's not a nice bus either. 17 hours to go all the way over there. Then they'd wrestle. And then to save money on a hotel, they wouldn't even get them a hotel so they could change and take a shower and shit. They'd bring them right back to Mexico. That fucking stopped. Now people are being flown. So changes are being made. And I think all those people leaving and me leaving, I think that was a huge wake-up call. Like, you don't know what you have until you lose it. You know what I'm saying?
Be sure to come back next week to catch the exciting second part of that Konnan interview. Like, he shot so much in that thing. He was shooting on everyone that we had to cut it into 2 pieces, because even for Expo Lucha, I mean, it's too much. You can't deal with that much shooting in one interview. The guy's amazing.
You're totally right, Jason, and I can't wait till next week to listen.
Justin, he asked me, and I said, like, he could have just called me Outlaw or L.A. Reid or whatever.
Jason Credible.
Oh, my God. Anyway, look, let's go to another break and come back. I got some wall of shame stuff to talk about.
Lucha-masks.com, in partnership with Mask Republic, give you personal protective masks to keep you Lucha strong in the fight versus COVID-19. With world-class luchadors Blue Demon Jr., the Lucha Brothers, LA Park, Ultimo Dragon, Cain Velasquez, Konnan, and so much more. Head to lucha-masks.com and you too can become a masked warrior. Lucha-masks.com, powered by Pro Wrestling Revolution.
So, Wall of Famer, Tony Khan just celebrated his birthday. Happy birthday, Tony Khan.
Happy birthday. It must be nice to all of a sudden
Shame
have
about that shit football team.
Happy birthday.
It's got to be weird. That first year you're in the real public light like he is right now. Like, how do you think he feels being the Eric Bischoff of now? It's got to be kind of weird.
Can you imagine if they had Twitter back then? How fucking hilarious it would have been.
Oh, man.
They'd have been all arrested. But
you know what's great? I just saw Dave on the Twitter just rip apart Eric Bischoff, not even as an insult, but it had to do with Jericho's Cornette tweet insulting Cornette by saying if he probably would have a job as a consultant in AEW if he wasn't such an idiot, blah, blah, blah. If he just was chill. And then it got turned around to like, I'd rather have someone like Tenay or Bischoff. And Dave was like, if Bischoff had anything left in the tank, then he wouldn't have been fired from TNA and he would have stuck around in WWE.
I think Bischoff even knows he doesn't have much left in the tank. But so who's better right now, Tony Khan or Triple H?
I think Tony Khan, because Tony Khan is new and fresh.
Are you just saying that because of the AAA tweet thing? Triple H?
Well, Tony Khan, I think, hasn't done that type of thing on Twitter, but he has. There are allegations.
What type of thing is it, though? I don't even know what this thing is. You started telling me during the break, and I don't even understand.
Well, just to compare the two, I think Casey can get into it if he was here about the Angel Fire wrestler list, which is a whole nother thing another time because we only have about 4 hours for this episode. But Triple H, I think Meatloaf should be the one to go on record about this.
So Lars Sullivan, historical racist, proud boy, homophobic, misogynist who glorifies rape, has returned to wrestling.
Don't leave out the very
allegedly.
specific.
Can I just say allegedly so we can keep the show on the air?
I'm in England. It's fine. He can come for me. I'll beat the shit out of him with a brick.
Allegedly.
Some of those are alleged, but also he had a very specific.
They're not alleged. They're not alleged.
He
wrote them.
He has a very specific post he wrote about one of his bosses, like 10 years before he got hired. Do you know that? Do you know that?
I haven't seen that one. I've seen it, but I can't remember it.
I don't know anything about Lars Sullivan. This is amazing.
But what's happened is that someone posted a picture of Lars Sullivan from the Gay for Pay porno film he shot and put his best tag team partner and Triple H.
He was like, this is my favorite Lars Sullivan match.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, that was it. Sorry.
And it was which is cool. No shame in doing any.
It's fine. Blah, blah, blah. We only mock it out of the thing of him being a homophobe.
He should put it on OnlyFans. I mean, and he could make some money from it these days.
And he's got some really thick eyebrows and he really effeminate face in that picture, which is quite amazing.
Triple H liked the post.
Yeah,
basically? He liked and retweeted it.
Oh Jesus! Maybe he's just having a go at him. Maybe he's actually making fun of him.
I mean, that would be totally in character for Triple H. Let's not forget he was in DX. Let's not forget his sense of humor. However,
I'm not going to go through everyone on the Wall of Fame and Wall of Shame, but again, happy birthday to Tony Khan. I want to put someone on the Wall of Shame this week. I got to put the guy who crashed his car into the lovely Denise Salcedo this week. That is not cool. I know she was in the car with her, her boyfriend, the guy.
Justin's heartbroken.
But I mean, look, if he had messed up Denise Salcedo and she was ever, done with the guy and maybe I had a chance or something, that would be really messed up.
Well,
so the guy who crashed Denise Salcedo is firmly on the Wall of Shame.
Did we get an update on the health of the fiance? Because maybe, where a door closes, the door opens.
I'm the guy who wouldn't even say bad things about Trump when he got COVID. I wouldn't say anything bad about the guy.
Justin was seen leaving the scene.
Because I hope that their relationship doesn't last and that I have a fighting chance doesn't mean that I would ever want the guy to die in a fiery car crash.
Yeah, just like somehow have to get a job in a different country somewhere.
It's just weird to leave, It's weird to hear someone who's 55 talk like this about a teenager.
Wait a minute. First of all, you look older than I will ever look. Oh my God. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about AEW. Listen, the FTW belt Cage, Will Hobbs, like whatever for the match. It was fine. I got it. It made sense, but it made me think, Jesus, is Cage the right guy to be the FTW champ? I mean, I know they're doing this whole thing with Team Taz, which I feel works, but like the FTW belt, like I need it to be on Darby Allin. I need it to be on somebody gritty. Like,
I mean, I also feel that it's
someone you care about.
I care about Cage.
See, I think certain pieces work together. I think Cage works with Taz, but when Taz is in the booth and Cage comes to the ring by himself, you know, he misses stuff like even making the ring announcer announce. He misses that character work with the belt, and that's part of the belt. That's how you get over and stand out. Even you need to be a promo guy with that belt. Ricky Starks would be good with the belt, even though he's not as gritty.
I think so.
That's part of like the heel thing. Darby would be good. You got to be a promo guy.
Yeah, and I thought when they put that on Cage that they would make him do some of that stuff. I mean, the belt represents Taz walking in with that towel on his head through some gritty beer hall in the middle of like Hoboken or wherever they were wrestling that weekend. Like that belt meant something because of the grittiness of it. Yeah. It was really a counterculture belt, and people jumped on it. And now it's like it's not even being represented as a good mid-level belt to me. Like,
well, are you suggesting that AEW have decided to do something and completely missed the fucking mark?
No, it's Taz keeps trying to put it over in the booth as the Renegade belt that it's supposed to be, the Renegade Championship, but nothing is happening with it.
Yeah, but Taz is doing his job.
Well, that's Taz's. It's his belt.
But he's not in control of the.
Here's where I'd love it to go. Like, it's fine. This week was fine. The match was good. The FTW belt was represented. It's back into the mix a little bit. I think it is a good second tier kind of thing to have storylines for pay-per-views. But what I think they need to do is have somebody gritty who would deserve to be that FTW champ come in and challenge for it, like maybe Darby or somebody, not Shane Douglas. But then maybe get to see Taz pressuring Cage to go to that darker place, to get more gritty, to fight it out a different way as part of the storyline, even if they keep it on Cage and even if Cage resists it. But like make a storyline out of Taz trying to make Cage more the fuck the world kind of guy. And I think you can get legs out of that really fast.
I feel Brody Lee winning the TNT title, he did a lot of FTW type stuff.
Yes, because he's got a little bit of that character and gimmick.
Yeah, like he won the belt and he's like, AEW, I'm a problem for you now.
Look, this is so transparent though, because we talked last week about Cody's promo and this whole dog collar match thing and Cody getting his belt back. Look, the match, great. Mm-hmm. Exactly what it was supposed to be. Hit all the traditional elements. They absolutely did it right. I don't know when Cody's going to stop bleeding for this thing, but dude, God bless him.
Everyone, first of all, this dude ringside bled in the first 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
This is what I expect out of a match like this. I'm a little upset that they didn't promote it a little bit better, but the end thing of this whole thing is exactly what I said last week. Cody put himself over as the ace by inferring that these other guys might be the ace. It's him. He is giving himself the ace spot. And this was basically like, thanks for holding my belt while I went and did another TV show. It became completely transparent that that's all this Brody Lee run was. It was literally like, I got to go over here and do this thing for a while. Instead of holding up the belt, why don't you take a little stab at it? And then as soon as I come back, I'm taking it back. Like, it was super transparent that that's what they did.
I mean, logical storytelling puts the belt back on Cody when he comes back. But, you know, and if you're going to have a resolution like that, then that, you know, that's fine and good. You don't schmoz it up. But it's going to be telling what the Dark Order and Brody Lee does next.
I think so. I mean, look, the characters have some room to run. I just, you know, and I'm happy with Cody being the ace. I think Cody is putting in the work. I think he can be that kind of star, though I feel like I'd like to see him come out of that position and instead Kenny Omega go into that position with the big belt for a little while, for a run, and then have Cody come back and do this another year from now. But I have a feeling they're going to let this go for 4 or 5 more months. Then they'll switch up and do a Kenny thing as we get into spring and WrestleMania time next year.
Well, Kenny
have crowds and whatnot.
Kenny notoriously has, sorry to interrupt so early, but Kenny notoriously has really slow burn, long-term storytelling. Like even with the whole AEW New Japan stuff, like it totally would fit into the overall program if Kota came in and had a match with him one-on-one in like 6 months, you know?
Yeah.
Like and it would mean the world without very little active work currently. And
look, Expo Lucha 2021 in Philly. Get your tickets now. There's a few VIP packages left. I really want to go.
So I feel like the Kenny to the top of AEW, especially with his Hangman stuff now established, I think they're slow burning that. We'll probably see more of that progress with the tournament. But I think it's really interesting that they got Orange Cassidy lined up against Cody next week on Wednesday. I think it would be and it reminds me of something you were saying a while ago. It would be very interesting for me to see Cassidy take the belt off of Cody on Wednesday. I think that would be interesting. I think that would be probably the best way to go with business. Cody's story wrapped up, but where does he go as TNT champ? He did his open challenge. So I don't want to see his open challenge again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't disagree. Look, I think it needs a little bit of work, but clearly Cody's the ace. They want Cody to be the ace. They want him to be the guy that kind of, not like RVD's TV run in ECW, but I think they want that kind of feel to it and whatnot. So we'll just have to see where it goes from here. Another thing I thought was interesting about AEW this week is they really put over Serena Deeb. As you know, she's come in, she's officially signed now after her match with Thunder Rosa. They put her over as a top tier female talent going into this match with Big Swole. Yeah. And she is officially probably the second or third best female that AEW has for sure. And then they go in and do this weird match with Swole and her. And I'm just like, what they need to do is they need Serena to be making Britt Baker a star. They need to have them wrestling. Serena needs to be the ring general there. I get that they're doing this thing with Swole, but honestly, her and Swole should be teaming up. Swole should be talking for Serena. Those two need to be a team.
There's a definite gap in work rate and a definite gap in character. And AEW has done a great job in branding their female talent. But their female talent is super green. So you have Deeb comes in, works a great match that's presented as just a match, and it's awesome. But now she's with Swole, and it's a little bit lacking because, okay, now she's here full time. Why do we care about her?
It's totally lacking, and she lost to boot. It was just kind of off the way they did that. But imagine this, if Britt Baker and anybody, whoever that other little girl that she's with or whatever, have her...
It's
Reba, whatever. Have those two face off with Swole and Deeb kind of coaching all these guys, because Deeb is an excellent trainer, by the way. And she's coaching these guys. Do a program with them back and forth for a little while. You keep the big Swole thing going too. And Swole's great on the mic and with some of the comedy bits. And she can go a little bit, but seeing her in a 15-minute classic is not what I want to see. I want to see her spot fest for 5 minutes max.
Yeah. Like a lot of them do that indie match, which is great.
And I want to see Britt protected too. I want to see her run the ropes for 2 minutes and not much else. You know what I'm saying?
I got to tell you, on Britt's return match, she was 1,000 times better than she was before she left.
She has heart. She is a star. She is going someplace. And that's why I'm saying they need to invest in her now. And the only way to do that, they can't do it with Sheeta. They have to do it with Deeb. That is the only option they have. Brandy would be okay, but Deeb is a much better choice.
Yeah. I mean,
Brandy and Britt work too similarly to begin with.
Yeah. I also feel like as I don't want to say bad things about Brandy, but I think that she should be like the fill-in option. You know, like they did when they lost half the roster.
I think she sees herself that way, honestly.
Yeah.
I think that she is that right now, and I think that's a good place for her to be.
I would love to see Britt take the title off of Sheeta and, you know, in a heel fashion, in a way that she didn't necessarily earn it, and she gets a heel run.
I agree, and that's storyline wise where they should go. But I feel like right now they're just going to have Sheeta hold it for a while, because nobody is ready to take it off of her yet. And I think 2 months down the line, maybe you have Britt or somebody take it off of her. But you need programs, and they need to start working for the long term in that division, or they're screwed.
Well, let's talk. just very quickly get into, okay, you have
just get into a messy pool in a minute.
Heel champ. If you have Shida, who are the next 2 money programs that she would have with?
There aren't any.
And then if Britt was champ, who would, besides a rematch, who would she?
You've got to create stars,
right? That's what I'm saying. If Britt's the champ, any of those low mid-level girls can make sense for a 1-month program.
Yeah.
If Shida's the champ, not a single one of them makes sense for any period of time. So you just have to have Shida go through and squash some people for a while, hold the belt. You can't put Nyla back up there yet. Doesn't make sense. Brandy's the only other big name that you could put up there. Yeah. And maybe that would make sense, but it'd be awkward with Cody holding the other thing unless they do, a thing where they're coming to the ring, flaunting their belts all the time. But that only works if they're super duper heely. So I don't know. I think you just leave it on Shida for now because there isn't a program without Thunder Rosa in there. And even with Thunder Rosa, how many times do you want to see that match?
I also feel with Shida matches, you're looking for the work rate more than anything. Whereas a Brit match, it's gonna be pro wrestling.
Bring in Tessa Blanchard. Let her phone in a match with Shida.
She would be a good addition. I know there's.
I would add her permanently. I would bring her in as an outsider and let her wrestle.
Let her do a Jeff Cobb.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I would do. All right, one last thing I want to talk about with AEW because I think it relates more to this show than anything else. Holy Jack Evans, way to be 87% of a match for everyone. I mean, Angelico got to do no work. He got what, 36 seconds total in the match? Jack did everything. Jack sold the injuries. Jack sold the story. Jack did all the high spots. Jack took all the high spots. Jack said all the high spots. Jack did everything. How has this guy not been doing this on their television show every week for the last year? This stuff was amazing.
I saw a really great tweet right before the match that said, maybe one of you guys know who tweeted this, the Hybrid 2 is about to carry FTR to a 5-star match.
Except it wasn't even that. It was just Jack.
Yeah. It was great.
Don't get me wrong. That's even better because you're sitting there watching all this Jackness and you're like, oh my God, they still have Angelico too. Like if they ran this back next week, they could do the whole thing again with Angelico doing 80% of the match. And then one week they could actually both do it. And then you get 160%.
He even worked the announcers who were concerned about his leg. They're like, man, I don't think Jack is standing on 2 legs out there. Like they were concerned. Like we've seen in Lucha Underground, we've seen Jack take a suplex from Angelico, a superplex from the top of the turnbuckle to the floor. Yeah. And he finished the match just fine. I think he even kept a pack of cigarettes in his pocket too.
I'm just HT2 the hybrid 2 or whatever they're called now. Mm-hmm. FTR, I would watch this over and over again. This is the most interested I've been in FTR since they came in. I thought that for a non-existent storyline basically coming into this, that they instantly made something out of it. I was very compelled, and Jack just does it for me, man. Jack's great, and kudos to him for seeing. I think he's been hearing the internet chatter. He's been seeing what people are saying. He has been taking it easy, taking the paycheck, just going along with the flow. And then somebody said, hey, Jack, look, people seem to really want you out there. Let's get you out there. And then he got out there and made absolutely the most of it. This is what I was hoping Ivelisse would do when she was given a chance. And she did okay, but not great.
Like Jack was doing promos on his phone. Good promos, but badly shot. I'm sure
Jack's into another gear. I feel like Jack's taking this seriously. Jack wants to be there. Jack wants to be back in the limelight. He wants to make himself, I think, finally a big star like he should have been for the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. And I hope he does.
10, yeah.
Yeah. Look, I was proud of the guy. Happy to have been a fan of his for a long time. I'm sure Casey, if he ever showed up to work, would completely echo all of those things.
He's running sick today. He's still shitting. So
yeah, he's.
It's been going on for 16 hours now.
Is he tweeting anything about it right now? Has he tweeted anything about his pooping?
I would say bet is yes.
Well, no, he has been updating the local area of the sewage damage that's currently been going on.
Also,
as his turd makes its way through the LA system.
Checking Twitter? Are you checking the the Casey's Twitch stream to see?
No, I'm looking to see if we're back on yet. We're going to be on.
If you go to Casey's Cameo, you can for $15 you can get a message from his turd.
Casey's OnlyFans. It's just a webcam from.
Oh God! All right, let's take another quick break and come back and talk a little bit about some of the stuff from Takeover. What the hell?
If you're listening to this and you haven't visited luchacentral.com, it's time to do it. luchacentral.com is the online home for Lucha Libre, where you can get all of the top news in English and in Spanish. Find the best curated video content and original content not seen anywhere else. Find when Lucha Libre events would be happening in your area. Find photo galleries from top photographers covering Lucha Libre around the world. From weekly polls to annual awards. Seen and read by top executives in all of the major Lucha Libre promotions across the globe. And on top of that, it's free. LuchaCentral.com, your centralized place for all things Lucha Libre.
All right, so I want to talk a little bit about Takeover. Byron has forgotten most of it already.
No, I remember
the best match of the night. I don't
know why you would say that.
In the WWE universe, we're kind of in a little bit of a holding pattern right now because they're doing the draft. And at this point of this recording, I think all we really know is that New Day got broken up. There have been a couple of swaps, but nothing seems like. Who was making the point the other day? Like, oh, it was you, Meatloaf, that you feel bad for fans that don't get the experience of people jumping ship like the WCW, WWE, Monday Night Wars.
It was fantastic. You like obviously ECW was rated by WCW, and back then it was kind of reported in the monthly magazines, but you didn't necessarily, even though you knew someone had signed, you didn't necessarily know when they were going to turn up.
Yeah,
so and like when Raven first turned up in the crowd, or like
you get the dirt sheets from the dirt sheets, One Wrestling, and those websites, and WCW Live, and places like that. You might get an inkling, but they were able to keep a surprise back then, and it was really exciting. Like a lot of times, these things would be done deals a long time in advance, and everybody in the business would know, but casuals didn't know, and even inside marks didn't know half.
I must admit,
it's so cool.
The first one that I saw,
or Kurt, go ahead.
So the first one I ever remember was WWE had reported that they'd signed Chris Jericho on their website before the Y2J thing.
Right.
But the Y2J thing happened like 3 or 4 months after.
I mean, at the beginning of the countdown thing, no one thought in a million years that they were going to give that kind of entrance to Jericho.
Yeah, and the same with Tazwoman.
Because nobody, the way that WCW handled the whole Jericho thing, he was a mid-card guy at best. Unlike you're thinking to yourself, oh, there's no way they're going to bring in some possibly future IC champ as, some big thing. So when they started the countdown thing, even though I knew Jericho was going over, I didn't think it was going to be him at all.
We had a generation of people who thought that you might see The Rock turn up on Nitro. Yeah. It was a possibility. And there was talks in Undertaker jumping ship at one point, and he decided to stay, which has been led to being one of the biggest things that saved.
That locker room. He had a lot of friends in that locker room.
How many conversations Casey and I would talk about, like whether we were going to see Shawn Michaels in an NWO shirt on TNT.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I used to build it must have been on like one of the wrestling games, but also my figures. I used to build new stables, so it was like Sting come across and somehow joined DX, so he was wearing green and black. That kind of stupid shit. But I
think the only exciting thing about this is that by the end of this draft, we're going to know who Fox cares about, because clearly SmackDown is the A brand show at this point, which is a good thing because it's only 2 hours, and it's nice to have the A brand only be a 2 hour show. But it makes Raw just a wasteland at times. I mean, they had Hurt Business doing 5 segments 2 weeks in a row on Raw because they don't have anything else going on, and they have to fill 3 freaking hours.
They need more
killed
people.
Andrade as well, and they're not doing anything with that, are they? They're not doing the split up there. They're not actually acknowledging it.
I feel bad for the workers and the writers over at Raw. That show's just too long. And now, it's smart business that they have to focus on the Fox branded show right now. Fox is their bigger money ticket right now. USA is not going to work for them. So it has to be that way, but it's just dreadful. So the only real intrigue that you're going to get from whatever's happening in this WWE draft at this point in time is literally like, okay, now we know who Fox cares about, because this is the first time they really get to chime in after they've had the product on their airwaves for a year or so.
They're also flogging off 3 at a time and taking on 2.
Right.
So when Raw takes 3, they only take 2. So it's like, yeah, there's been a lot of fat being trimmed from SmackDown, and
there should be, because Raw needs it. You got to put more faces over there. Like, it should be a super stacked mid-cardy show. Guys like Drew McIntyre being a champion over there. It's clearly a mid-card show, which is great. I think that's fine. It should be. Let's get a bunch of those guys over there. Give them a chance.
Almost like the middle level between NXT and SmackDown.
Yeah,
especially like Raw. They got Retribution, which is a huge stable, gimmick. And then you have Raw Underground, where you need a lot of faces too. And they burnt through their extras at the Performance Center. They're pulling kind of any talent in Florida that isn't going to Jacksonville to fill out that crowd. Like, if we were in Florida and we called ourselves workers on Twitter, you would see us in a hoodie getting like punked out by MVP, in that basement.
In Florida right now,
I would be doing that.
We would have gotten Performance Center contracts at least by now. We'd be getting a look at a workout. Okay, maybe we wouldn't be getting signed, but we'd be getting a look.
Yeah,
I mean, it really is between AEW and Performance Center and all these brands and all these hours of television that have to get filled in that area. Everybody in that southeastern part of America is working right now. Like, you're a Memphis wrestler right now. Move. What are you doing? Move to North.
Move.
Move to Orlando, and then
or at least Atlanta. Like, get over in that ballpark.
Yeah.
You can carpool to Jacksonville if you need to, because they all live in Orlando, and you're by the airport.
So I do want to talk a little bit about NXT.
Can I bring up my favorite draft? My favorite things about the draft, and one of my favorite memories. I love hearing about how they try to kayfabe the wrestlers. And the wrestlers, especially like when they draft and break up couples or like road partners and stuff. My favorite was when I think Taker got drafted to SmackDown or something.
He lost his shit.
So live on TV, he just like throws his chair against the wall.
Yeah, that was
so much. Just
you see the entire room lose the air. You just go, and then all of a sudden he just gets up like, "Fuck this shit."
Well, and they're trying to give you that moment with the New Day, but they were basically broken up before it. They put them back together at the top of the show just to break them up officially, and put the belts on them as placeholders, which is also fine. I completely agree with that. They're a better placeholder as they shuffle everyone around and figure out what's going to work in the tag division. New Day is established, and they can have their 70 million. They're the Ric Flair of tag teams now. They're just. But
you got the people who complain about Big E not getting his shot and stuff. It's like, well, he's by himself now, so he.
Well, that's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to give him his shot. They're going to give him his Ron Simmons moment and let him kind of go out there and do his thing, and we'll see if it amounts to much of anything. I don't think it will. What's that?
Are they going to bring Vader back?
No, they're going to look. They're going to. Big E's going to get a run for a pay-per-view cycle, and then he's going to job for the next 8 years.
How close is February?
It's close enough for him. All right, so NXT Takeover. I want to talk a little bit about this. First of all, Johnny Kickout.
What I appreciated was it wasn't
nothing.
He put in a regular match. He's putting the guy over. And he put in a regular match where he didn't kick out of 15 finishers this time.
No, I must admit, but I was
still
bored.
Look, I'm a Gargano fan, and I had to agree with Meep on this one. I was bored with this one.
Who do you fight? Archer?
Damien Priest.
Of Infamy? Yeah. Well, here's the thing. He's smart. He's Gargano and
Gargano plus Priest equals death.
Well, I didn't remember who he was fighting.
See,
but I think it's Gargano and Candice are smart. They're doing that Okada thing where it's like, okay, I'm not doing a run with a belt or on top. I'm gonna do character work, and they're doing interesting character work, so they get their segment.
Interesting. That's one word for it.
Right, but takeovers are not about character work. They never have been, and part of the reason why they're awesome is, the The infinity pins are dope. Sorry.
I still don't know anything about those. I don't know how those work.
Things are dope. Oh, holographic pins with like a screen inside them that you can activate with the app.
Yeah, and it downloads stuff onto them, doesn't it?
Get like
so they add new stuff.
They're so small. How do you have a screen inside of it?
Exactly. That's why it's so dope, bro.
I'm cheap.
Pins, awesome. They're
exactly expensive.
Okay, well maybe someone needs to buy me one so I understand.
Klein Rock, some of those pins so Byron can review them.
So
he sent me some of those cards.
Everyone doing programs with the Archer of Infamy is trying to get him over. Like it's even funny to see him doing that mixed tag with EO.
The Archer of Infamy.
Archer of Infamy, Damian Priest. I can't remember his name.
Because he's not memorable. Hey, look, who are those guys coming back there?
Hey, you listen to my podcast? But it's an uphill battle. Like even with EO cut a better English promo than Damian Priest. It's just he can do a good match, but he is not interesting before and after the bell ringing.
Even when he jumps in the hot tub.
Look, the match was just
new tights.
The match was just whatever to me.
Yeah.
I found this interesting. And this kind of got Miflo blocked by Swerve or whatever, I guess, this match. But
before.
Swerve versus Fantasma, the Santos Escobar, whatever the hell he's called, the leader of Legado del Fantasma. Look, amazing. Absolutely great. This was better than anything that they did in Lucha Underground. Both of them. Like where Santos is right now is absolutely amazing. I felt like the old Swerve came back for a night. There were a few things that I thought were strange or off. I really loved Beth putting over the fact that Swerve was a student of Lucha Libre and had worked under a mask in a previous promotion. I mean, they actually basically shout out to Lucha Underground. Yeah. Though I don't know if that could really be called working Lucha Libre style. He's not really a student of Lucha Libre just because he was under a hood.
He said he started the match doing Lucha to throw off Santos. He threw a arm drag.
He did a little bit. It was a good sequence, though. It was a good sequence.
He does American Lucha, doesn't he? Basically, that's the hybrid. Yeah.
And the Underground style is a specific style. Swerve was very good at it, especially by season 3 and 4. Lucha Underground had created its own hybrid form of Lucha Libre, where you're working from the other side of the body, but you're still doing American style moves. The pacing is more American style match, but you would do some running Lucha Libre spots every now and then. And everybody, I think, at a certain point. Late season 2, actually, through season 3 and 4, a lot of the performers really started working this new style. And then you saw it on the indies everywhere.
Yeah, oh my God, yeah,
now,
do you know what Swerve's dive is called?
Even though it's not. What's that?
Swerve's dive. It's not the Space Mountain Tiger thing that Jack did.
It's I don't know. It's a Swerve driver or something.
No. His backflip out the ring. Not as MLW, whatever.
I don't know. I don't know what they call these things anymore. I was never good with wrestling moves.
He runs and does a backflip. It's cool and it stands out because everyone else does the push over.
Because he had literally like every move he's got has got a name, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Because he's got the hook. Has he got Hook Haley?
He has the takeout food kick.
I'll tell you what I thought was weird in this match was Swerve was acting a little too heel for my taste. And maybe this is weird when you don't have a crowd to work with and you don't know how to get the energy going right. But I thought on TV it translated a little bit off because there were moments where you felt like Phantasma was the face and Swerve was the heel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, just because you said the crowd, I have to point out the fact that there was 3 dickheads directly across from the hard camera without their masks on for the 95%.
Well, yes, but they were also in a sealed pod. I don't know if you could tell, but so the way that the new Capitol Center thing works is they have real fans that are invited to come in, but they're all by groups in 3-person pods, maybe 4-person pods. So there's separators in there. Not that makes it okay or safe, but they were in their own contained area. And what they did for this event was tickets went out to friends and family, went out to a few outsiders. I don't think there was a ton of people in there. Maybe what was under.
I would hope going forward, just for an image thing, that they would stop these people doing that, though.
But ultimate goal is to get it to be kind of like a Lucha Underground thing where you're putting 300 or 400 people in there. You're getting the best fans. You're doing, targeted ticketing for real fans to come in and pop for you.
The only problem is that they are going to be local people.
Except the people on the screens.
And Floridians are well known for being...
People might fly in for it. I don't know.
I would fly in for that if,
It's a big deal to be able to go to any kind of live event these days.
Yeah.
And apparently, they're doing a lot of screening and everything before people come in. And I like the fencing on the fencing on the plexiglass was great too, which is also part of why you couldn't see that there was those pod separations there.
Yeah,
I thought the whole setup was cool. I love the CWC. Makes NXT so much more exciting and atmosphere. And also
sad that my alma mater's losing NXT, but
trust me, you'll get it back when they.
And it looks like a Dragon's Den, doesn't it, with that link fencing?
Yeah,
they're going to get Full Sail. They're going back to Full Sail when you can have free students working.
Yeah,
right.
I like the history though of the CWC, and I think anytime you can incorporate history into story,
it adds that extra, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So going back to the match real quick, the thing that I didn't. This match started a night of finishes that I don't disagree with the winners of these matches, but how they're getting to it with like people hitting moves that should end matches. Okay, it's fine to me if it happens in one match or if you get a kick out fest. You're like, everyone's going for the HBK Classic, where there's a bunch of, it's the Johnny Kickout thing that Gargano has done a bunch. But these are not just people kicking out of finishes now. We're getting people kicking out of chair shots and destruction through tables and things that should like end careers.
Yeah.
And that's why we love tables.
The person wins. Like it's ridiculous.
You knew if someone went for a table in the ring in a hardcore match, it was like, right, that's it now. Especially if it was the top turnbuckle powerbomb, the Dudleys used to do.
Right.
If it was simply them thrown into the corner, you could understand that it's not necessarily too bad because it's almost like it is like taking a bump in it. It is directly taking a bump, but it's that kind of thing of like
it's not like Cody's dog collar match where people are taking abuse, but it wasn't supposed to be match ending abuse.
There was something in that match which got me heated a little bit. When Cody did a package pile driver, he did someone's finish through a table outside the ring, off the apron, during a commercial picture-in-picture.
Yeah, that was stupid.
First of all, I know you're trying to keep viewers from switching, but it's not, I'm so
like that even with picture-in-picture. You just
your bumps cost something. They cost something out of your career, and you're spending that capital on a picture-in-picture bump, which is going to be a clean 2 kick out with no drama and no crowd. Like, why would you do that bump without the crowd noise behind it?
Yeah, I just don't. I don't.
It's a finish on for someone else.
But look, NXT was more flabbergasting to me because it was match after match after match doing this.
The Phantom Driver, wasn't it? He kicked out the Phantom Driver, and then he lost to a double underhook.
I mean, Candice EO had a ridiculous ending too. Like, I
think we've talked about the Bucks. That they do a great job, or at least when they're on it, they do a great job in their tag matches or their 10-man whatever tag matches, where they get those finish type high spots in, but they use the tag element to protect the finish. They're not kickouts; they get broken up, and you got to be more creative in the one-on-one matches. Because you want to do the cool spots because they're all indie workers. They want to do the cool spots and get the gifts, but it has to make sense for the kick out, or else sometimes you're on your phone watching a match and you just know, like, I got to wait until, they're beginning the final segment and you just watch for the replays. Like nothing matters.
I mean, that's just it. It's like, it's the overall desensitizing of the audience. It's like, we want wrestling to be exciting. We want these big moments, but we don't deserve to get them all at once and have them not matter.
Mm-hmm.
Because it just desensitizes the whole thing, and we're not training audiences the right way. And then they wonder why stuff doesn't get over the way it used to when people are doing these things now. It's because It's too much. This is coming from an ECW fan, man. Dude, I'm the guy that, saw Bob Van Dam do the triple flips into the crowd and Sabu do the triple jump moonsault a million times and New Jack jumping off of stuff and stabbing people with forks every night. But at the same time, guess what? There was one fork spot. And guess what? It mattered. And then New Jack won because he stabbed a dude with a fork. And when
semi-retired worker with a fork.
Once you stab someone, it's over after that. You don't get up. You don't kick out at 2 from a stabbing.
I know there was a spot on
spot off the balcony. Keeping
it 100. Sorry,
I just it just that was the thing that bugged me a little bit. But I did think that this was a good takeover. I think it was the right direction for them to go for right now. Because basically the whole thing is in a holding pattern for Cross.
And everybody's injured.
And a lot of people are injured. But the last thing I want to mention about WWE is...
I want to get to the main event, too.
Okay, well, talk about the main event, because I don't care about it. But go ahead and talk about it.
I love Kyle O'Reilly and him and Finn being also kind of the same size, I think made it really interesting. And I love the match. It was such a New Japan style match to me. I love the whole thing. Who's going to expect Kyle O'Reilly to win? You know what I mean? But at least it wasn't like Roman, jobbing his cousin out, which was great. But it was
so weird. I apologize, but I found it so weird because when the finish happened and Finn was stood up and he had that little bit of blood, it was so dark. It looked like a squib. Like, he put something in his mouth. And I was like, oh. And then even like the dirt sheets were all saying, even up until the next day, people were still saying, Finn made a Konnan audible and decided to end the match quicker.
Yeah.
And because it did, didn't it? It's just suddenly went from... It
did kind of seem like that.
Yeah.
But
so for obvious reasons, he had a broken jaw.
But imagine he's still doing countless double stomps with a broken jaw. That's a high impact.
Shocking entire body. Just shockwaves go through your body.
I loved it. I loved how, I just loved the New Japan style of storytelling and how both people felt and kept the damage on them the whole way. And I loved the after-match selling. I didn't like how it turned the spotlight got taken away from them, taken away from Kyle O'Reilly and put on Adam Cole.
Ridge Holland.
No, it was on Adam Cole selling. It's
the ex rugby league player from just down the road from my old hometown. He's from Liver's Edge, which is just around the corner from Wakefield.
But I thought it was great. There's the respect, and I really love in the big New Japan matches how afterwards they're both lying on the mat. They're both selling the match as opposed to John Cena popping.
To be fair, they were both legitimately injured.
But then it turned out they both were like seriously hurt, so they didn't have an option.
This was unfortunately, I think, putting this match on the same card with Phantasma and Swerve hurt this match for me. By the time we got to this, I had seen and all the matches kind of leading up to it. And NXT has had this problem in the past a little bit, but they used to do 4-match pay-per-views, and this was 6 or 7. And maybe
I don't think it's 5 or 6. I don't think it's too many.
Because it felt like I had seen too much of this leading up to it, and it wasn't anything that they did wrong. I was really happy to see Kyle O'Reilly get kind of this moment to shine. It was nice that Finn was in there and protecting him a little bit just to make him look good. And I liked what they were doing with it. But at the same time, by the time we got there, man, I just did not care like I probably should have for this match.
Don't know.
I thought the build-up was bunk. I don't think Finn played a big enough part in the build-up. I think that it hurt them completely.
Going back to your point about ECW, and I was going to say keeping 100, made a point about saying how if you bled, only one person bled on an evening, because you don't, you put it in 2, then you've halved the impact.
Yeah, don't get me wrong.
NXT's problem isn't
more than one person bled, but there was only one planned spot in ECW, and the rest were hard way.
But the one that was planned would be a big bleed. The other ones would be like natural accident ones. Yeah,
it would be a waterfall, and it would be gruesome, and it would absolutely play to the storyline the ongoing, overarching storyline. Not even.
And there'd
just
also be
story.
Just one gimmick match. It won't be 3 gimmick matches or 2 gimmick matches a night. They might turn into it because it's ECW, but there was one hardcore match scheduled. But NXT's problem really is the fact that basically, say they do 5 a takeover, 5 matches, all 5 the kick out fest. Almost the kind of the NXT match. So you've seen 5 matches. They're all good standalone, but when you put them back to back, there's no. I mean, there's no lighthearted. As much as I don't really like comedy so much, but there's nothing to break it up. And
classic. How many of those can you put in one show and have it make sense? Like,
I feel like when we talk about the shows we've enjoyed the most, whether among any of the brands, the ones with variety are the ones we enjoyed the most.
Yeah, like look at that last main WWE pay-per-view. I loved it. It was totally different. The Roman Reigns thing with the Usos at the end was completely different. The ladder match was for a ladder match done completely different. The women's match, even with Zelina coming up there and like she was even great. Like there was stuff that worked. It was all different. It was their best pay-per-view in forever. And they need to take a lesson from that because this NXT pay-per-view, a lot of great stuff happened and not very much of it mattered at the end of the day, which is really sad because those workers went in there and really put on a show for everybody.
Most of the takeovers are kind of just very homogenized.
A little bit, but and maybe back in the old room, the darker room with that crowd, maybe that made it work better. Maybe. But that's also, it's like they got to know what they've got to work with right now. Maybe they need to switch it up a little bit just for that alone. Maybe they need to do some squashes on a pay-per-view. Maybe not everything is a 20-minute classic. It just can't be.
Or even throwing in little matches, just throw in a little unscripted match.
What's interesting?
Cameron Grimes versus somebody.
Oh, Cameron Grimes would be great. But what's interesting is you have the cruiserweight match against 2 guys who carry themselves as heavyweights. Yeah. And they are also same, or if not, I don't know if Escobar is bulkier than...
They're both bigger than Finn Balor.
Yes.
Who was in the main event against Kyle O'Reilly, who is smaller than all 4 of those guys.
But it felt like that match is it should be theoretically on par with the other one. It's for a championship.
Well, and it's certainly elevating the cruiserweight title to the point where they can't even do those things on the cruiserweight show. Does 205 Live even still exist? Why isn't that just been folded into Raw?
I think it's on Twitch.
Anyway, listen, one last thing
it's on the network afterwards.
With NXT is the return of Ember Moon. I
haven't seen NXT.
Who's injured someone already?
Okay, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to spoiler it for you, Byron, because you should have watched it before you came on and did a show about wrestling.
I've seen the other shows.
Look, Ember Moon is not Ember Moon anymore, guys. That is a different person right now. And God bless her heart, but ring rust is real. They've changed up her look a little bit, and which
Mad Max
doesn't faze me at all.
I dig the look.
Super duper the sloppiest you have ever seen her. Promo skills,
like a year and a half.
Oh, she went to the Ricochet show cutting a promo.
Yes, I put that out there.
Real bad. It was real bad. It was
really happy to be back as well.
It was the worst return I've seen in wrestling in maybe 5 or 6 years. It was absolutely tragic.
Painful.
And I hate to bust your bubble like that, Byron, but now you can go into it watching it not hoping for the best because it is not the best, bro. It's just really bad.
She's just happy, smiley, and I understand it, but it is literally smiling and going, yay, first day at preschool.
That's the last thing she should be doing with that type of image, with that character,
Yep.
Look, Byron, all I'm going to say is hopefully me saying that it's horrible will lower the bar so much that you can find something enjoyable out of it when you watch it.
You might just watch a GIF and tell you I just...
Oh, no. You should watch it. It's important.
Yeah, it's fun.
To watch it. You need to. I know you're a fan.
I know I'm a huge fan, and I'm excited. I didn't think she was coming back. She had ankle knee injuries, and then you could just...
she did put out that tweet. She thought her career was over.
You could also just tell by how they do their the videos on Cameo or Twitter or whatever, you could kind of tell, if they're Ricochet or if there's someone who could cut a promo.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It just was.
So she injured Dakota Kai, didn't she?
No,
Dakota Kai's injured now. Yeah, she injured her.
They had a match.
She did the. They ended a tag match at the end of the show.
Look, Byron, you go watch that. I'm gonna go watch this. The rest of Expo Lucha.
I'm trying to watch the G1.
And some G1 and stuff. Meatloaf, you go
some RuPaul.
It's like 4 a.m. in England. And Casey, wherever you are, shit or get off the pot already. So until next time, stay calm and stay in the mix.